Chapter 292. On Monday morning, after buying breakfast, Yang Chung ran to the office of Yulei's PR department. He wasn't greeted by the crowd he expected. Instead, he saw a group of women gathered together and chattering about something. Yang Chung put down his breakfast and took a closer look. It was a group of female PR girls discussing around a huge map of Japan. Seeing Yang Chung approach, Zhang Kai, who was arguing with a few girls, immediately changed her target. She left the girls behind and ran to pick breakfast. "Mrs. Zhang, can you have some professional ethics? Why are you going to eat in the middle of a conversation?" One of the girls yelled. Zhang Kai picked up a bag of fried dumplings and took a bite. Her lips immediately felt oily. "Do whatever you want. I'm going with Sister Mingyu anyway." Yang Qing asked Zhao Hongyan, "What are you guys discussing?" Because the office was heated, Zhao Hongyan only had a purple sweater on. She looked gentle and charming. She smiled and said, "They're debating whether to go to Narita Airport in Tokyo and have fun in Tokyo, or to go directly to Hokkaido." For the year-end trip, the entire PR department chose Japan. Yang Chung was also in the PR department back then, so he was naturally included. However, Yang Chung back then was a little different from now. Because of the incident with Yamada's sect, Yang Chung felt a little strange about going to Japan. However, there was no need to avoid it. He just thought to himself that if he really went to Japan, there would be a lot of trouble. After being reminded by Zhang Kai, Yang Chung suddenly remembered that he was going to Japan with Lu Mingyu. Now, it seemed that there weren't many opportunities to be intimate in China. Going there could make up for his regrets. However, he didn't know what Beauty Lu was thinking. After listening to the female colleagues arguing in the office for a while, Yang Chung didn't understand anything. So, he ran out of Yulei's headquarters and returned to Yulei Entertainment across the street. When he entered his own office, it was already filled with people. Other than his right-hand men, Zhao Tong and Wang Jie, there was someone he didn't expect, Qiang Wei. She was wearing a gray coat with a white silk scarf, black lace stockings, and a pair of light brown high-heeled boots. Her hair was slightly permed and dyed with a few strands of seductive red. Rose, who was dressed in winter clothes, looked a little less lazy and sexy, and more simple and sexy like a city beauty. It was Yang Chen's first time seeing this woman in his office, so he felt that it was rather fresh. He winked at Rose, who responded with a reserved smile, making Yang Chen not know whether to laugh or cry. "Director, you're here. Miss Situ has been waiting for a long time." Wang Jie smiled widely. Her face was like a blossoming flower. Obviously, she had a good time with Qiang Wei. Zhao Tong quickly got up and brewed a cup of hot tea for Yang Chung. He passed it to Yang Chung and said, "I heard from Miss Situ that you're close friends with the director. She asked us to speak freely. We're talking about next year's talent show." Yang Chen sat back on his rotating leather chair. Intrigued, he asked, "Did you manage to come to a conclusion?" Wang Jie said, "After some discussion, we decided to name the activity Star of Yulei. Although it's a bit tacky, it can raise our banner. Plus, there are a lot of talent shows nowadays. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?" Yang Chung didn't really care about the name. "I'm fine with it. How are we going to do it? Is the plan ready?" Actually, the whole process isn't that difficult. Yulei has organized all kinds of large-scale modeling competitions before. There's not much difference in nature in organizing a talent show like this. Zhao Tong said, "But the judge we need to choose is an important problem. That person must be famous and influential enough. Also, it can't be the judges that other talent shows use. It's best if it's an international judge. After all, Yulei is an international company. Yulei Entertainment has to face the whole world in the future. So, who are we looking for?" "Director, you said you could solve this problem last time. I wonder." Yang Chung smiled and turned to ask Qiang Wei, "Who do you think is more suitable?" Qiang Wei shook her head. "I don't know. I don't care about the entertainment industry. I'm just here to make money. I'll listen to you." "I don't care about the entertainment industry either. Fortunately, I know a friend in the entertainment industry." Yang Chung smiled mysteriously at the three of them and quickly pressed a few buttons on his desk. A computer screen was projected on the snow-white wall of the office. The blinds on the window were closed, and the screen on the wall became clear. Yangqing opened MSN on the computer. After entering an account, he logged in and went online. Not only Wang Jie and Zhao Tong, it was also Qiang Wei's first time seeing Yang Cheng on MSN. However, she didn't know who Yang Cheng's friend was and waited curiously. After going online, Yang Cheng had more than 10 friends in his friend list. He couldn't tell who they were. Yang Cheng chuckled. "I'm lucky. She's online." As he spoke, he opened a female friend's dialog box. Without saying much, he opened the video call mode and waited for the other party to accept. The female friend accepted after about half a minute. It seemed like the video was lagging due to the network. After a while, the other party's face finally appeared on the screen. However, the moment it appeared, Wang Jie and Zhao Tong both screamed in shock. "Oh my God! Kristen? Am I dreaming?" Although the video was a little blurry, the other party's face could still be seen clearly. On the spacious king-level pink bed in the background, a blonde woman in silk pajamas was looking sleepy at Yang Cheng's profile picture with a charming smile. The blonde woman looked like she was in her 20s. Her skin was as white as jade. Her figure wasn't hot, but it was just right. Even if she was wrapped in loose pajamas, the perfect curve of her chest was still very eye-catching. She had an angelic face and a high-nose bridge that highlighted the heroic spirit and sexiness unique to Western women. That graceful and refined temperament wasn't something that could be brought by pure beauty. On the contrary, it made people feel that it was because of that temperament that this woman was breathtakingly beautiful. Even with the aesthetic standards of Eastern people, this woman's beauty was so impeccable. "Looks like I sent the video at the wrong time. Kristen, are you going to sleep?" Yang Cheng asked in fluent English and American. Kristen teasingly stroked her golden hair. "Yang, although it's very rude, please believe me when I say that you never look at the other party's time zone when you send a message." When Zhao Tong and Wang Jie heard that Yang Cheng really called the woman Kristen, they were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Qiang Wei saw that Yang Cheng was talking to a foreign woman who was so beautiful that even women would be jealous of her. She couldn't help but feel upset. She asked Wang Jie, "Is this woman very famous?" Wang Jie whispered excitedly, "Miss Situ, don't you want to watch the movie? Kristen Stewart, Hollywood's hottest diva. She was the best actress and the best supporting actress at the Oscars. She also won the Best Actress award at 5 international A-level film festivals. Last year, she was recognized by the Grammys for Best Country Album and Best Female Singer. It's said that she's only 26 years old. She's a genius among geniuses. Whether she's abroad or in Huaxia, she's the idol and dream goddess of countless men and women." Although Qiang Wei really didn't pay much attention to the entertainment industry, she still knew about the Oscars and the Grammys. It sounded like this woman was indeed extraordinary. But how did Yang Cheng know her? On the other side, Yang Cheng and Kristen were already conversing fluently in English. After some small talk, Yang Cheng directly stated the main purpose of the video call. When Kristen heard that it was for her to be a judge for a talent show, she seemed to not know Yang Cheng. She looked at Yang Cheng strangely and then giggled. She looked at Yang Cheng seductively and said, "Yang, it seems that you've been living a very special life since you returned to Huaxia. I'm really curious about how you're like when you're sitting in an office meeting with your subordinates." "So, you've agreed to it?" Yang Cheng said with a smile. "I can participate. I've planned to give myself a good holiday this year, but I can't participate in every talent show. So, you'll still have to invite other judges," Kristen said bluntly. Before Yang Cheng said anything, Wang Jie, who couldn't wait any longer, said in her not-so-standard English, "We definitely won't trouble you too much, Miss Kristen. In fact, as long as you're willing to appear once and be a judge for our final competition, our event can be completed perfectly." Yang Cheng was depressed. This was too easy for Kristen, but since Wang Jie had already said it, he couldn't say anything else. He said, "The one talking to you is my assistant, Wang Jie. She'll talk to you about the specific work in the future. I'm just using my thick skin to invite you to Huaxia." Kristen yawned and stretched her body seductively. She said, "Understood. You know my contact information. I'm sleepy now. Good night, Yang." Good night. After the video was turned off, Yang Chung canceled the projection and opened the blinds. Wang Jie and Zhao Teng, who were still in a state of excitement, felt like they were dreaming. There was nothing but excitement in each other's eyes. Incidentally, the way they looked at Yang Chung was also filled with admiration. After Yang Chung wrote an email address to Wang Jie, he sent the two of them out to work, leaving only Xiang Wei in the office with a strange expression on her face. "What's wrong, Xiang Wei babe? Your lips can already hang a teapot on them," Yang Chung said while looking at Xiang Wei's pouting lips. Xiang Wei's eyes were like a scanner, sweeping across Yang Cheng's body. "Tell me the truth. How many more women like that woman do you have abroad?" Yang Chung was stunned. He finally understood the reason for Xiang Wei's displeasure. He smiled and said, "Xiang Wei babe, you're really wrong this time. Kristen isn't my woman. At least I'm not capable enough to sleep on the same bed as her and not be kicked out. We're just friends who have a good relationship." Seeing that Yang Chung didn't seem to be joking, Xiang Wei found it unbelievable. She said, "You'll actually let go of such a beauty? Do I look that thirsty?" Yang Chung smiled bitterly. It seemed like he was really a beast in the eyes of the women around him. Xiang Wei didn't say anything. She just pursed her rosy lips and turned her bright eyes elsewhere. She had an expression that said, "That's right." Yang Chung touched his forehead in distress. No wonder Tang Wan didn't listen to his explanation last night. Chapter 293. After talking with Xiang Wei and dealing with some simple matters in the office, Yang Chung looked at the clock on the computer. It was not lunchtime yet, so he stood up and said, "Let's go out for a walk. We won't sit in the office today. Let's play with my little girl, Xiang Wei, for a day." Xiang Wei was slightly surprised. "A day? Why? You don't want to play with your husband for a day?" Yang Chung asked with a smile. "That's not what I mean. I'm just a little surprised that you will have a day to accompany me." Xiang Wei beamed with joy. Yang Chung felt a little upset. Why did he say that he was a beast? These beauties around him all owed him a lot. After leaving the company with Xiang Wei, they got in Yang Cheng's car. Xiang Wei asked several attendants of the Red Thorn Society to go back first. After all, when she was with Yang Chung, she didn't need to guard against enemies and opponents. "Where are we going?" After buckling the seat belt, Xiang Wei asked excitedly. Yang Chung thought for a moment. "It's winter. It's so cold outside. It's boring in the city. Why don't I take you to the mall? Although I know you don't lack clothes, I don't think you women will refuse this kind of thing." Xiang Wei's eyes lit up. Obviously, even a powerful mafia boss couldn't resist the temptation of the mall. Because it was Monday and morning, there were not many people shopping in the mall. Yang Chung took Xiang Wei to the famous Golden Palm building in Zhonghai. Most of the high-end international brands were here. Ordinary citizens wouldn't come here to buy clothes, so it was a good place for the two to date and hang out. Although the two had known each other for almost a year and had long been intimate with each other, it was the first time for Xiang Wei to go shopping with her beloved man, which made her particularly excited and radiant. Holding Yang Cheng's wrist, they took the elevator to the first floor of the building. The glamorous and fashionable clothes around them were secondary. Xiang Wei enjoyed their time together. The mall was very quiet, as there were almost no customers. There were only salespeople waiting respectfully for customers and smiling at them as they walked by. Yang Chung saw Xiang Wei, who seemed to have returned to her teenage years, and couldn't help but laugh. If your underlings see you like this, it will be very difficult for them to respect you in the future. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I will soon step down as the president and become a serious boss of an entertainment company. It will be better to leave the respect of those people to Rong Rong, Xiang Wei said indifferently. Yang Chen asked, "Are you planning to pass the position to Rong Rong so soon?" Yang Chung didn't expect that Chen Rong, who was coincidentally brought to Zhonghai, would one day be supported by Xiang Wei to become the president of the Red Thorn Society. Although he knew that Chen Rong had made rapid progress and was naturally intelligent, Xiang Wei was at her peak. It was a little unexpected for her to step down. "In fact, I have always had an idea. I want to integrate the illegal and illegal businesses of the Red Thorn Society into a legal company and then become a listed group. In that case, the president of the Red Thorn Society will not be suitable for the leader of the group, Xiangwei said. Yang Cheng suddenly understood. He reached out and scratched Xiangwei's delicate face. So you want to be the president of a listed company? I was thinking that even if Rongrong really has the ability to manage the Red Thorn Society, the underlings will not follow Rongrong's orders after you leave. Xiangwei pursed her lips and said, I'm doing this so that one day I can leave that circle completely. At least, I can be with you openly and stand in front of the world. I will also face everyone's eyes calmly. I've said that I don't care about your background in the underworld. Yang Cheng frowned and said, Don't always feel sorry for yourself. It will make me angry. I know you don't care, but I do. Xiangwei mumbled and said, All right, I've been doing this all along. It's not bad for the future of me and Red Thorn Society. Hubby, don't worry about it. Yang Cheng had no choice but to stop talking about this topic. He took Xiangwei to the nearest Prada boutique and began to shop leisurely. Prada's products were founded in 1913. Since its launch, it had been favored by the upper class of Europe, especially Italy, including the royal family and nobles. The excellent traditional quality continued to this day, combined with the most avant-garde development elements, and had a strong vitality. Of course, the premium Prada products were quite expensive because many Prada products would continue to increase in value after a few years and had high collection value. Although Yang Cheng didn't have much money on him now, he still had more than 1 million yuan in savings. He took Xiangwei to shop in such a shop, and he wasn't afraid that he would lose face and have to rely on Xiangwei to pay the bill. Xiangwei wasn't short of money. She didn't feel much when she saw the dazzling lineup of 5-digit prices in the boutique. When Xiangwei walked to the new Prada Fianchetto autumn and winter women's shoes counter, her eyes were instantly attracted by a pair of pointed stilettos decorated with crimson bows. The shop assistant, who had been quietly and respectfully following by the side, cleverly stood up and introduced with a smile, Miss, this pair of fianchettos is very suitable for your elegant and noble temperament. This is a new style released this year. It continues the crocodile leather material and the classic embroidery, and is in line with the street trend of the 1950s. If you pair it with black stockings and a thick knee-length skirt, it will be a very fashionable match. There are less than 20 pairs of this pair of shoes in the entire Huaxia, and it's a global limited edition collection. We were only allocated this pair, so if you like it, you can't miss it. How much is it? Xiangwei asked faintly. This pair of shoes didn't have a price tag, so the price would fluctuate according to the market. The shop assistant ran to the computer and looked it up. She smiled and said, Miss, the latest market price is 110,000 Huaxia dollars. Hearing 110,000, even though Xiangwei wasn't short of money, she suddenly turned her head and frowned. Are you sure? 110,000? Isn't a normal fianchetto available for around 10,000? The shop assistant still smiled humbly and said, I'm not wrong, miss. This pair of shoes shone brilliantly at the birthday party of the new British princess a few days ago. It was highly praised, so it's in high demand in the upper class. Xiangwei hesitated. Even if she really liked this pair of crimson stilettos that matched her style, and she had the capital to buy it, it was still a bit too much to spend 110,000 on a pair of shoes. Do you like it? Yang Cheng asked with a smile. Xiangwei pouted. Well, the color and pattern look really beautiful, but 110,000 is too expensive. Even my most expensive shoes don't exceed 20,000. Then I'll buy it for you, Yang Cheng said. Xiangwei was stunned for a moment before she immediately shook her head. Forget it, hubby. It's not worth spending so much on a pair of shoes. I'm not doing it for the shoes. I'm doing it for you. Yang Cheng smiled as he took out his bank card and handed it to the shop assistant. I'll take this pair. Hearing Yang Cheng's reason, Xiangwei felt a sweetness in her heart. She couldn't help tiptoeing and kissed Yang Cheng's cheek. Yang Cheng looked at the satisfied Xiangwei and sighed. I rarely have time to accompany you. It's rare for us to be together today, so just accept this gift from me and let me feel better. The shop assistant didn't expect that this seemingly ordinary man would buy the most expensive shoes in the store without hesitation. She said with great envy, Miss, you're so lucky. Then she immediately swiped her card to help Yang Chung pick up the shoes. After paying the bill, Yang Chung received the crimson bonnet decorative shoes. He couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. Women's money was really easy to earn. He didn't see anything special about these shoes, but they actually cost him $110,000. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't care about money, ordinary men wouldn't be able to bear it. No wonder men hated to accompany women to shopping. They loved their legs and their wallets even more. Before Qiang Wei could finish playing with the shoes, Yang Chung took the shoes and said to Qiang Wei, "Come, sit on the stool." As he spoke, he pulled Qiang Wei to the sofa at the entrance of the store for customers to rest. Looking at Yang Chung in puzzlement, Qiang Wei asked, "Hubby, what are you doing?" Squatting down, Yang Chung held onto Qiang Wei's slender calf and raised his head with a smile. "You bought such an expensive pair of shoes. If you don't immediately put them on for me to see, I will feel unbalanced." Qiang Wei's face blushed. She finally understood that Yang Chung was actually taking off her shoes and putting them on for her. Taking off one of Qiang Wei's boots, Yang Chung held Qiang Wei's delicate little foot and pinched it a few times. It was soft and meaty and very comfortable. "Baby Qiang Wei, don't use your hands when you give me a massage in the future. Your feet are too cute." Even when they were entangled on the bed, Qiang Wei's sensitive and meaty little feet had never been grasped and played with by Yang Chung like this. In front of a few shop assistants, her boots were taken off, and she was kneaded and pinched. Qiang Wei was both happy and shy. There were all kinds of feelings that were hard to describe. "Hubby, don't be like this. They're all watching." Qiang Wei bit her lower lip and said anxiously. Yang Chung smirked. "What are you afraid of? They don't know us." After saying that, Yang Chung picked up the newly bought winter shoes and slowly and gently put them on for Qiang Wei. They fit perfectly, connected to the calves wrapped in black silk. The crimson bow ornamental shoes made them look agile and light. 110,000 is really worth it. It seems that this pair of shoes was waiting for you to appear. Yang Chung, who had seen too many luxury goods, still had a certain appreciation and couldn't help but exclaim. When watching the man in front of her carefully put on the red stilettos, Qiang Wei felt that her heart was about to melt. The romantic scene that she had never dreamed of in the past actually appeared in front of her eyes. Yang Chung picked up the other shoe and planned to put on for Qiang Wei. However, just as Yang Chung took off Qiang Wei's other shoe, a few women in professional suits came around the corner of the shop in front of them. One of them was a young woman wearing a simple black suit. Her hair was tied up in a bun, and she had an elegant and refined temperament. The other women seemed to be accompanying staff, and they were explaining something to the woman. The moment Yang Chung saw the woman, his body stiffened and his hands stopped moving. Qiang Wei turned her head in confusion and looked at the women who were walking over. When she saw the stunning woman who was leading them, she couldn't help but open her mouth slightly. Although it was the first time Qiang Wei saw that woman, she had already remembered her appearance through the information. It was Lin Ruoshi. Chapter 294. When Yang Chung and Qiang Wei saw Lin Ruoshi also saw Yang Chung, who was slightly at a loss. From Lin Ruoshi's point of view, she just happened to see Yang Chung kneeling in front of a graceful woman, holding a brand new crimson high heel, grabbing one of the woman's small feet, as if he was going to help the woman wear the shoe. This was undoubtedly an extremely ambiguous action, so ambiguous that it would make outsiders blush. What made Lin Ruoshi's heart instantly cold was that the woman's appearance was extremely outstanding, with bright eyes and white teeth, red lips and white skin, and a lazy and charming temperament. As a woman, Lin Ruoshi was very clear that such a woman had a strong attraction to men. Although she knew in the past that Yang Chung had confessed that he had a lot of women outside, but what she heard and what she saw with her own eyes, this kind of difference was huge. Lin Ruoshi's face did not have the slightest strange expression, but in her cold eyes, there was a bone-chilling aura. The kind of torment in her heart, only she could feel it. Even though she was already mentally prepared, Lin Ruoshi still felt as if her heart had cracked at this moment. A kind of exhaustion and powerlessness that came from the soul corroded Lin Ruoshi's entire body. If it wasn't for the last trace of rationality and tenacity, Lin Ruoshi could even be sure that she would have fainted on the spot. Did I actually care that much? But how could this hateful man be like this? Was this how he treated other women outside? He didn't even hesitate to kneel down and help other women wear shoes. When she thought about how this guy had just said, shorten it to half a year, in front of her yesterday, Lin Ruoshi really wanted to rush up and slap him. Was she that bad? Changing things for him, thinking for him, and even learning how to be a wife for him. In the end, was she really not as good as these women outside? For them, he could kneel down. She clearly hinted that she was not willing to divorce him. But he cruelly reduced an entire year. With all kinds of thoughts in her mind, Lin Ruoshi had already walked to Yang Cheng and Xiang Wei's side. Yang Cheng did not stand up, still maintaining his original posture, and Xiang Wei, after a short period of surprise, calmed down. After all, she was also a woman who had seen the wind and waves. Even if it was the identity of a mistress, facing Lin Ruoshi for the first time, Xiang Wei did not choose to retreat. Lin Ruoshi stopped, turned her head, and looked at Xiang Wei, who was sitting on the sofa. One was as cold as an ice mountain, the other was casual and generous, not the slightest bit. After a subtle contest between the women, Lin Ruoshi turned her head and looked at him. The shoes are very beautiful, very suitable for your woman, Lin Ruoshi said coldly, without the slightest trace of emotion. Yang Qing knew that he could not avoid it, and said with a slightly bitter smile, "Is that so? I think so too. Do you have a job here? Golden Palm Tower is a property under my company. Is it strange that I'm here for an inspection?" Lin Ruoshi said. Yang Cheng was stunned. Lin Ruoshi's assets were too terrifying. How could a random high-class department store be hers? What a coincidence! She had to be here for an inspection today. He did not know if the heavens were deliberately playing tricks on him, but Yang Cheng could imagine that at this moment, Lin Ruoshi's heart must be in a perilous storm. However, since he had already told her that they would be separated in half a year, then perhaps he could use this opportunity to let her see through him, and from then on, no longer have any tolerance towards him, which was also a good thing. Their marriage had already begun in a ridiculous manner, and other than all kinds of headaches, he had brought her all kinds of dangers. It seemed like it was time to grit his teeth and separate from Lin Ruoshi. This would only be good for her. After Lin Ruoshi finished speaking, she took one last look at Xiang Wei, then looked at Yang Cheng resolutely, and led the group of building managers away without looking back. I never thought that my first meeting with the Empress would be like this. It's over, it's over. She seems to be in a very bad mood. Xiang Wei said softly, "Hubby, does she hate me to death now?" Yang Cheng raised his head and said with a comforting smile, "Don't think too much. Be good and put on your new shoes. Then I'll take you to lunch, and we'll continue shopping after that." Xiang Wei resentfully said, "It's all your fault. You insist on wearing shoes for me like this. She must think that I'm a vixen and that I'm the one who wants to break you up." Yang Cheng frowned and said, "Silly girl, why would you think that? Even if I were to separate from Ruoshi, I wouldn't give up on you. You are different from her." Xiang Wei blinked her eyes. "Hubby, between you two, did something happen? How could she leave so easily and let me go just like that? Don't ask. In short, whether you're a fox spirit or a spider spirit, don't think about other people's business when we're dating." Yang Cheng reached out and pinched Xiang Wei's nose, causing the latter to grumble. When Yang Cheng brought Xiang Wei to the elevator, intending to go to the restaurant in the building to eat, Lin Ruoshi, who was leading a group of executives to inspect, suddenly stopped after walking for a long distance. A staff member who was introducing the operation of the building asked in confusion, "General Lin, what's wrong? Is there a problem?" Lin Ruoshi took a deep breath, her eyes slightly moist. She turned her head and said, "Let's end the inspection here for today. I suddenly remembered that I have something urgent to do, so I'll hand over the rest of the details in the form of a report. I'll be leaving first." "Yes, General Lin." A group of executives immediately sent Lin Ruoshi away, but most of them were confused. Taking the elevator to the underground parking lot, Lin Ruoshi almost ran back to her red Bentley. As soon as she entered the car, Lin Ruoshi couldn't hold back anymore. Tears flowed out of her eyes, and her whole body leaned on the steering wheel, trembling. Yang Cheng, who came to the Western restaurant with Xiang Wei for dinner, sat down and ordered the dishes. His mind was a little erratic. Lin Ruoshi's resolute gaze kept popping up in his mind. That familiar, unforgettable gaze always stirred him up. Right now, she should hate me to death. Maybe she even regretted saying yesterday that she wanted to maintain their relationship as husband and wife for another 6 months. Xiang Wei's mind was clear. She said softly, "Hubby, you don't feel good, right? I can tell that you seem to be purposely making Ms. Lin angry." Yang Qing's expression changed slightly. "Why do you say that?" "I'm not sure either, but I have this feeling." "Hubby, can you tell me why you did that? This isn't like you. I can tell that both of you actually care about each other. You're not the kind of man who would purposely hurt a woman." Xiang Wei asked. Yang Qing was silent for a while. He knew that there was no point in hiding it from Xiang Wei, so he simply told Xiang Wei about Su Jihong and Zhang Xinlin. "I killed Zhang Xinlin, so the Zhang family in Beijing might fight me to the death. Furthermore, my past isn't something that a woman like her, who grew up in a peaceful environment, can imagine. There are countless people in this world who hate me to the core and want to take revenge on me. I'm fine, but my wife on the surface will easily become a target. Furthermore, someone like me, whose hands are stained with blood, doesn't deserve to get married and have a family. Those things will only become a beautiful weakness, a target for those who want to deal with me. Previously, someone kidnapped Ruashi. Fortunately, I managed to exchange the coordinates of the kidnappers in time and saved her life. I can't guarantee her safety every time, because it's unfair for her to face so many threats to her life." Yang Cheng said. Xiang Wei didn't expect that there would be so much inside information. After listening to it, she said faintly, "There are always things that people have no choice but to do in this world. But hubby, isn't this too cruel? Although it's my first time meeting her, as a woman, I can tell that she actually doesn't want to be separated from you. Who knows? To be honest, I still can't figure out what she's thinking. But it's better to be sad than to live in fear because of me. We can only take it one step at a time," Yang Cheng said. After the main dishes were served, the two quietly finished their lunch. In the afternoon, when Yang Cheng was preparing to continue shopping with Xiang Wei pulled Yang Cheng and said, "Hubby, I've shopped enough. Let's go back to my place, okay?" "But it's still early," Yang Cheng asked in confusion. "Won't you feel bored like this?" Xiang Wei blushed and whispered something in Yang Cheng's ear. "Seductress, you really miss that thing so much." Yang Cheng smiled. Xiang Wei shyly lowered her head. "Who told you not to look for me for so long?" In the face of Xiang Wei's initiative, Yang Cheng didn't have too much desire in his heart. Instead, he was moved. It wasn't that Xiang Wei really had that kind of need. This was obviously a woman who felt distressed about his low mood and wanted to use this way to let him vent and forget his troubles. How could he let go of such a silly woman? However, even if he knew, Yang Cheng didn't say it out. After leaving the building with Xiang Wei, he drove back to the big bedroom behind the Rose Bar. He really needed a channel to vent. Outside the house, the north wind was whistling and the temperature was 3 feet cold. Inside the house, there was a warm, dim yellow light. The two of them, who hadn't been here for a long time, were like dry firewood in a raging fire. They kicked off their shoes, untied their clothes, and quickly tangled together on Rose's soft bed. When it stopped, Yang Cheng hugged the warm and plump body in his arms and kissed Xiang Wei's forehead. He said softly and deeply, "Thank you. I feel much better now." Rose raised her smooth chin and brushed it across Yang Chen's chest. She said with a fragrant voice, "Hubby, do you know? On the day you took me for the first time, I prayed to the heavens in my heart. No matter in my next life or the next, no matter how many times I reincarnated, I would always be this man's woman. Even if I'm not his wife, I'm still willing to be his lover. But now I don't think so. I feel that this life is enough. There's nothing more satisfying than this life. I can't be greedy because I feel that I'm the happiest woman in the world." Yang Cheng felt a burst of pity in his heart, but he couldn't say anything. Xiang Wei pouted her red lips as she looked at Yang Cheng and said, "Promise me, my man, no matter what happens in the future, Don't treat me like how you treated Lin Ruashi. I can't leave you. I'm not as beautiful as Lin Ruashi, and I'm not as rich as her. I'm not worthy of you. Other than loving you more than you love me, I don't have any conditions that surpass you. So, if you don't want me one day, then I'll lose everything. Staring at the woman's deep eyes, Yang Chung felt a dull pain in his heart. Chapter 295. Lying on Xiang Wei's bed in the evening, he accompanied Xiang Wei to watch TV dramas for the whole afternoon. Xiang Wei lazily yawned and blinked her eyes as she asked Yang Chung, "Hubby, when are you going back tonight?" "Why would you ask that? It's not like I have to go back." Yang Chung didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "You're not going home tonight?" Xiang Wei was a little startled as she continued, "But it's already like this during the day. If you still don't go home, so what? There's still half a year left, and it will pass in the blink of an eye. I don't think she wants to see me right now. After all, we're not on the same path, and sooner or later, we'll walk on different paths." Yang Chung steeled his heart and dialed home. He told his mother Wang that he wouldn't be going home tonight, but he didn't explain the reason. A complicated expression appeared on Xiang Wei's face as she sighed. "Truth be told, I do hope that you two will separate from each other. Even if I've never wanted to be your wife, I still don't think it's good for you to do this all of a sudden." Yang Chung pinched Xiang Wei's cheek and said, "Don't overthink it. Actually, everything has been wrong from the beginning, isn't it?" Xiang Wei did not speak. She looked a little sad, but no one knew if it was for Yang Chung, Lin Ruashi, or herself. "Although it's a little awkward for you to meet her today, it's also an opportunity for her to give up on me." After Yang Chung finished speaking, his heart felt heavy for some reason. He shook his head and didn't want to think about it anymore. He patted Xiang Wei's cheek and said, "Darling, get up. We'll deal with proper business after dinner." Proper business? Xiang Wei was briefly stunned before she immediately recalled what proper business was. Her face blushed as she patted Yang Cheng's chest a few times. She couldn't be bothered about it anymore. The winter night came earlier than usual. Lin Ruashi drove home. She got out of the car with a pale face and a tired figure. Looking at the warm lights in the house, his expression was a little complicated. Did that person come back? After what happened in the day, how could she meet him? Ignore him? Scold him? Or should he pretend to be normal? Lin Ruashi knitted her eyebrows in distress, but she couldn't think of a reason. Didn't they decide without hesitation to be a fake couple? Why do I feel more and more uneasy about him leaving me in the future? There was still half a year left, but only one day had passed, and his heart ached terribly. That damn man, was he trying to show off to her? Was he trying to tell her how amazing he was? Lin Ruashi walked back into the house in a daze and smelled the aroma of food. Mother Wang had already prepared the food, but the man was nowhere to be seen. "Miss, you're back. Son-in-law has something to do tonight and won't be coming home. It's just the two of us eating, so we didn't prepare much," Mother Wang said with a smile. Lin Ruashi was stunned. "He's not going home." "Yeah, I just called," Mother Wang said. "Oh." Lin Ruashi felt wronged, and her heart seemed to be in pain. He didn't even want to call her, and brazenly told her that he spent the night with another woman and refused to go home. In half a year, he was already so impatient. Lin Ruashi's face became even more haggard. She silently sat down and ate with Mother Wang. Under the bright yellow light, the scene of the two women eating seemed to have returned to the cold and cheerless times of the past. It took less than half an hour to finish the meal. Mother Wang was cleaning up the dishes by herself. Seeing that Lin Ruashi wanted to help, she immediately said, "Miss, you don't look so good. You must be tired from work. You should go upstairs to take a shower and rest. Don't do anything." "It's okay, Mother Wang. I'll help you." Lin Ruashi shook her head and said. At this moment, the doorbell rang. Lin Ruashi put down the bowl and chopsticks in her hand. A hint of joy flashed in her eyes. She jogged to the door and opened it. The person standing at the door was not what she had expected, but it was also someone she knew. It was Choi Yun, who was dressed casually. Lin Ruashi was slightly disappointed, but she still smiled and asked, "Yeonyeon, why are you here so late at night?" "Come in quickly." Choi Yun wore a white down jacket. Under her short black hair, Her charming oval face looked especially fair and beautiful. Seeing that Lin Ruoshi didn't look so good, Choi Yun walked into the house and sighed. I heard from my sister that you already know a lot of things, right? That day, when she returned home, she told her about how Zhang Xinlin teamed up with Su Jihong to take revenge on Lin Ruoshi. At this point, there was no need to hide too much. After all, they were all involved. She probably hoped that Choi Yun could comfort Lin Ruoshi as a good sister. Lin Ruoshi nodded and forced a smile. I'm fine. You don't have to specially come to see me. How can you be fine? Your face is so skinny, and your complexion is so bad, Choi Yun said unhappily. She looked at the living room and asked, where's that bad guy? Lin Ruoshi felt a pain in her heart. He has something to do tonight. He won't be back. What? Choi Yun was furious. What can he have to do? How can he be like this? After such a horrible thing happened, you're already so haggard, and he still doesn't come back tonight? Lin Ruoshi pulled Choi Yun to the sofa in the living room and sat down. She made tea for her and said, don't mind him. Let him do what he wants. I actually feel more peaceful when he's not here. Choi Yun looked at Lin Ruoshi's seemingly indifferent face, but every word she said was filled with difficulty. She couldn't help but pull Lin Ruoshi's hand and let Lin Ruoshi sit next to her. Ruoshi, tell me the truth. What happened to you two? You're not the kind of person who would be scared by a dead person. You look like this, I'm so scared. What happened to you? Choi Yun asked nervously. It seemed that Lin Ruoshi's sudden change was hard for her to accept. Lin Ruoshi's eyes were slightly red. It's nothing. We just didn't rest well. We're really fine. Choi Yun was anxious. How can you be fine? I've never seen you so listless since you were young. Even when Granny Lin passed away, you weren't this depressed. Did you know? You're like a shell without a soul now. When I saw you just now, I almost couldn't recognize you. When you saw me just now, your eyes were clearly disappointed. What were you disappointed about? It's because the person who came home wasn't Yang Chung, right? You must be very sad in your heart. Why don't you say it out loud? Why do you have to endure all of this alone? If you really want to accept him and love him, you have to tell him. What's the use of me wanting to accept him? Lin Ruoshi suddenly raised her head. She couldn't suppress her emotions and looked at Choi Yun with sparkling eyes. In another half a year, he said, in another half a year, we'll end all of this. But in less than a day, he's sweetly dating another woman in front of me, and he's clearly telling me that he's spending the night with another woman and won't be coming home. He's telling me that he's already made up his mind to leave this family, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with me. Lin Ruoshi smiled sadly and said, I don't want to hide it from you. Anyway, you'll know everything in half a year. Choi Yun was stunned. What do you mean, what? Half a year? Lin Ruoshi wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and told her about the marriage contract she signed with Yang Chung. However, she didn't say that she lost her virginity to him that night. She only said that they met by a small accident. In other words, your marriage is fake, right? Choi Yun was shocked. She felt like she was dreaming. Yes, but it doesn't matter if it's fake or real. Since he's already like this, then let's wait for half a year and let everything end. Lin Ruoshi said coldly. You're lying to yourself. Choi Yun looked at Lin Ruoshi pitifully. If you really don't care anymore, then you won't be in so much pain. You won't be willing to wait for this half a year to end. Ruoshi, why don't you fight for it? I just lost my mind. Lin Ruoshi's face turned cold. Yonyan, do you know that he held another woman's feet and put shoes on in front of me today? I won't like a man like him, even if I die. Don't worry, I'll be fine in 2 days. You don't have to worry. Choi Yun's pretty face changed slightly, and she felt uncomfortable in her heart. However, seeing that Lin Ruoshi seemed to have made up her mind, she didn't say anything more. She sighed and didn't know how to comfort her. After chatting for a while, Choi Yun took the initiative to leave early so that Lin Ruoshi could go to sleep. After saying goodbye to Lin Ruoshi, she walked out of the villa and returned to her Audi car. Choi Yun couldn't calm down for a long time. As long as she thought that the marriage between Yang Chung and Lin Ruoshi was just a contract and not real, Choi Yun couldn't control the suppressed feelings in her heart because of their friendship. It turned out that everything was fake. He and Lin Ruashi weren't husband and wife at all. Everything was just an empty shell. No wonder he was still flirting with another woman. Choi Yun quickly figured out the unreasonable things in the past. Her feelings for Yang Chung surged like a tide. Even if she felt that she had wronged Lin Ruashi, people would always have a selfish side, not to mention a woman standing in front of love, right? However, as long as she thought of how Yang Chung rejected her gift that day, Choi Yun gritted her teeth in anger. Just you wait, I won't give up so easily, Choi Yun muttered to herself and drove away. Chapter 296. Early the next morning, Yang Chen's phone vibrated when the sun rose. Yang Chung was hugging Chiang Wei as they lay under the warm blanket. He took the phone and glanced at it. The number seemed familiar. The moment he picked up the phone, a voice Yang Chung didn't want to hear even if it killed him. Look at the time. Are you still sleeping? It was Abbess Yun Miao, the old Taoist nun. Yang Chung let out a long sigh and yawned. Abbess, can't you look at the time? It's only 6 in the morning. It'll take me an hour to get to work. When I was your age, I'd wake up before 5 to train. By this time, I'd be carrying 2 buckets of water from the foot of the mountain to the top. Abbess, that's the Shaolin Temple, right? Do you May women do that too? Yang Chung asked, annoyed. Shut up. I'm talking about serious business. Yang Chung woke up from his drowsiness. The nun's voice was a little too loud. Even Chiang Wei, who was woken up, had a terrified but cute expression on her face. Then tell me what serious business you have, Yang Chung said helplessly. Abbess Yun Miao snorted and suddenly asked, How's Hui Lin doing? Is she getting used to living at your place? Hui Lin? Yang Chung asked curiously. What do you mean by coming to my place? Is she here? Abbess Yun Miao shouted. What? You don't know that she's in Zhonghai? She didn't contact you yesterday? Her train arrived in the afternoon. Yang Chung was stunned. Didn't she say that she would call him when she arrived? She didn't even contact him. How would he know if the nun had arrived? Abbess, I really don't know. She didn't call me. Did you remember wrongly? I personally sent her on the train. How could I remember wrongly? This is the first time she left me alone. Could she have gotten lost? That's not right. I gave her my phone. If she has any problems, she can call you. Abbess Yun Miao said anxiously, Go to the train station immediately and look around. You must find my granddaughter. If anything happens to her, I'll make you return my precious granddaughter, even if I have to risk my life. Damn it, this has nothing to do with me. How would I know when your granddaughter arrived? What could possibly happen to a living person who knew martial arts? Yang Chung was at a loss, but he didn't dare to talk nonsense with this old Taoist nun who didn't have the nourishment of love. He could only turn off the phone and get up in a hurry. Chiang Wei asked in confusion, Honey, how do you know a nun? An old woman who has a husband but still deceives herself to become a monk. Ignore her, Yang Chung muttered. Then what about her granddaughter? Chiang Wei looked at Yang Chung strangely. Don't think too much about it. Why are you gossiping too? Do I look like the kind of person who would attack a little nun? You do, Chiang Wei said without hesitation and tried not to laugh. A few black lines hung on Yang Chen's face, but he couldn't say a word. Half an hour later, Yang Chung drove to the train station in Zhonghai. He ran into the station, which was empty in the morning. There weren't many people walking around the hall. Yang Chung scanned the rows of seats and corners. Just when he was about to suspect that Hui Lin had left, a figure sitting alone near the door attracted his attention. Her long hair was let down and combed neatly to the sides. Her oval face was fair and supple. Even in winter, it didn't feel dry at all. Her beautiful facial features were still exquisite, but she seemed to be tired. She had a sleepy and cute expression on her face. She pouted her pink lips and looked like she was stuttering. She changed out of her Taoist robe and put on a light coffee-colored coat that an ordinary girl would wear in the city. Black tight-fitting trousers accentuated her perfect figure and a pair of leather boots with a mane. Yang Chung almost couldn't recognize the Hui Lin who had transformed from a little nun into a modern city girl. Walking to the girl, Yang Chung looked at the pink suitcase beside her and then at the dozing Hui Lin. He frowned and asked, When did you arrive? Why didn't you call me? Hui Lin seemed to have woken up from her drowsiness. When she heard the voice, she stood up from her seat and rubbed her eyes to wake herself up. She looked at Yang Chung nervously and timidly, looking pitiful as if she had been bullied. You? Why are you here? Why am I here? Yang Chung didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Your grandma called me and said that she was going to kill me. How can I not look for you? Didn't I ask you to call me? Why are you sitting here all the time? Don't tell me you've been sitting here all night. Huilin shrank back in fear and nodded her head pitifully. Yangshan really didn't know what to say. Although there was heating in the train station, it wasn't as if she was a homeless wanderer who had no one to rely on. What was this supposed to mean? Why didn't you call me? Yang Chung asked again. Huilin looked away and said faintly, I felt embarrassed. Yang Chung smiled bitterly. What's there to be embarrassed about? Don't tell me you really think that I'll treat you as my wife just because your master said he wants you to be my wife? In my eyes, you're just like a little sister. Since you're in Zhonghai, just treat me as your distant relative. Why are you embarrassed? But we're not relatives. Huilin replied faintly. It was hard for Yang Chung to communicate with this naive girl. He took a deep breath and pulled Huilin's suitcase. Let's go. I'll bring you to where you're staying. You don't have to help me. I'll pull it myself. Huilin immediately grabbed her suitcase with a blushing face. Yang Chung glared at her. Why are you snatching it? Your master asked you to come here. Just listen to me and follow behind me. Oh. Huilin immediately retracted her hand and followed Yang Chung to the car park with her head lowered. When they were on the highway back to the villa, Yang Chung called Abyssian Miao and told her that he had found Huilin. However, when Abyssian Miao asked why she had only arrived now, Yang Chung immediately passed the phone to Huilin and asked Huilin to explain herself. When Huilin said that she was too shy to call Yang Chung to pick her up, Abyssian Miao immediately scolded Huilin to the point that Huilin was about to cry. After that, Abyssian Miao only said that Huilin was to stay at Yang Cheng's house. As for what she did, it was up to Yang Chung to decide. However, she was not allowed to stay at home all day. Yang Chung could tell that Abyssian Miao wasn't sending him a wife. She was sending him a daughter. She was already an adult. Not only did he have to take care of her food and lodging, she even had to help him find a job. As for a place to stay, Yang Chung initially wanted to let Huilin stay elsewhere. After all, he and Lin Ruoshi were at an awkward stage. However, Huilin was so innocent. It wouldn't be reliable to let her stay outside alone. Since he had promised Abyssian Miao to take care of her, he couldn't be too cruel. He could only bite the bullet and let her stay with him. When they arrived at the villa in Dragon Garden, Lin Ruoshi had already left for work. There was only Mother Wang who was clearing the dining table at home. When Mother Wang saw Yang Chung bringing an unfamiliar, beautiful girl into the house, she asked curiously, Young master, this lady is, oh, she's my distant cousin. She wants to do some internship in Zhonghai. She'll be staying at our house for the time being. I've told Ruoshi before, Yang Chung said. When Mother Wang heard that she was Yang Cheng's relative, she immediately welcomed Huilin warmly. She brought her luggage upstairs and quickly arranged a guest room for Huilin. There were many empty rooms in the house, and they were cleaned by professionals. She could move in any time, so it wasn't a problem. Huilin went into the room to tidy up her luggage. When Mother Wang heard that she hadn't had breakfast, she immediately ran downstairs and made some simple dishes. She scooped out the leftover porridge and asked Yang Chung to call Huilin down to eat so that she wouldn't starve. It was obvious that Huilin, who looked cute and pretty, easily won Mother Wang's favor. Yang Chung didn't have time to go to work, so he wasn't in a hurry. He went upstairs and knocked on Huilin's door. There was no response. Yang Chung didn't think much and pushed the door open. When he entered the room, he was overjoyed. Huilin was wearing clothes and pants. She didn't even take off her shoes. She had fallen asleep on the big bed. She was cold and hungry for a whole day on the train and didn't sleep at all. It must have been hard on her. She had never traveled so far in her life. Moreover, she was in an unfamiliar city. She sat alone in a train station filled with strangers. After a whole night, Yang Chung calmed down and felt pity for her. Walking to the bed, Yang Chung pulled up the blanket and covered Huilin with it. However, just as the blanket was covered, Huilin opened her eyes abruptly. She sat up and looked at Yang Chung warily. Her big eyes were filled with agitation as she retreated to the other side of the bed. What are you doing? Don't. Don't do anything rash. Yang Cheng was frustrated. What are you doing? I'm afraid you'll catch a cold, so I'm covering you with a blanket. Only then did Hui Lin notice the blanket in Yang Cheng's hands. When she thought about how she had misunderstood him, she immediately blushed. Actually, she was only vaguely aware of the affairs between men and women. Before she left, Abbess Yun Miao had forcefully instilled some things into her mind. She only understood half of it. However, she was a young girl in her 20s after all. She would definitely be shy and yearning for the affairs between men and women. Hence, when she saw Yang Cheng, the only man who had left a mark in her heart that she didn't reject, she would definitely have a strange feeling. Sorry, I was too nervous, Hui Lin said shyly. Yang Cheng shook his head helplessly. Since you're not going to sleep, go downstairs and have breakfast. Mother Wang has prepared it for you. Oh, Hui Lin replied obediently. At the same time, in a hidden and seemingly ordinary old building in Beijing, in a quiet office, Lin Zhigua put down the newspaper in his hand and took off his presbyopic glasses. He asked Grey Robe, who was standing respectfully beside him, Huir has arrived at Ruashi's house, right? I've just received a report that Yang Cheng has brought Miss Hui home. Master, you can be at ease now. Sigh, what's there to be at ease about? Grey Robe, do you know that I really hope that Ruashi and Huir can get along well? However, I'm also worried about how they would react if they found out that they're blood-related sisters. Huir is gentle and pure by nature, so she might not reject me that much. However, you know how much Ruashi hates me. Once she finds out the truth, she might not be able to calm down. Lin Zhigua frowned. Grey Robe was silent. He had been by Lin Zhigua's side for a long time, so he naturally knew what was going on. Oh, right. Lin Zhigua suddenly thought of something and asked, after I gave the DNA test to Yang Gongming, did the Yang family do anything? Grey Robe revealed a playful smile. Master, that was a clever move. Old Yang thanked Master for telling him that his eldest grandson was still alive. He also appeared on behalf of Master to meet the head of the Zheng family. Oh, Yang Gongming finally showed himself again? There's hope for his long-lost grandson to return home. As an old man, he naturally doesn't want to see anyone hurt him. Chapter 297. In the evening, Lin Ruashi got off work and returned to the villa. As soon as she entered the villa, she saw an unfamiliar young girl wearing a pair of fluffy slippers walking out of the kitchen with a pot of steaming braised vermicelli. It was Hui Lin. Hui Lin put down the pot of vermicelli and saw Lin Ruashi standing at the door. Both of them had a strange feeling when they looked at each other. Although it was the first time they met, they felt a sense of familiarity and even intimacy. Sis, you're back. Hui Lin opened her mouth almost instinctively and said weakly. Lin Ruashi thought for a while and asked, You're that guy's distant cousin? Hui Lin was a little nervous and hesitated for a while. Then she remembered that Yang Cheng had asked her to enter the house as his cousin, so she nodded and said, Yes. Lin Ruashi was slightly surprised in her heart. Could it be that she doesn't know that I'm married to Yang Cheng? If she knows, she should call me sister-in-law or something like that. Although I don't care about it, but this girl called me elder sister. Lin Ruashi didn't know why, but she felt especially close in her heart. Since you're here, stay here. If you need anything, just let me know. Lin Ruashi didn't have a bad impression of such a girl. She was so obedient and helpful on her first day. Even if she was a relative of Yang Cheng, that evil man, Lin Ruashi had to accept it. Yang Chen took a shower upstairs and saw that Lin Ruashi and Huilin had already sat down and were ready to eat, looking very natural and amiable. He muttered in his heart. Although he didn't want to admit it, they didn't know each other since childhood, but the existence of blood ties was difficult to erase after all. These two women sitting together were so cold and quiet. Even their temperaments were very similar, but Lin Ruashi was a little colder. When Lin Ruashi saw Yang Cheng, she felt uncomfortable in her heart. She simply pretended that she didn't see him. She silently scooped the rice and ate by herself. Yang Cheng was not surprised. He sat beside Hui Lin and said to Hui Lin, "Don't stand on ceremony. Eat more. You're so skinny. If you get even skinnier the next time you go back, your grandma will definitely think that I'm mistreating you. She will definitely come and kill me." Grandma doesn't kill people indiscriminately, Hui Lin defended herself. Yang Cheng coughed twice and signaled Hui Lin with his eyes not to say anything. How could a girl her age say something like killing indiscriminately? Sure enough, Lin Ruoshi looked at the two of them with a strange expression, as if suspecting that she had misheard. Of course your grandma wouldn't kill people. Shouldn't she go to jail for killing people? Yang Cheng helped Hui Lin cover it up. Hui Lin realized that she had said something wrong. She looked at Lin Ruoshi with her dark eyes and felt relieved. Halfway through the meal, Lin Ruoshi asked casually, "What's your name?" Hui Lin was a little nervous. She said timidly, "Hui Lin." Yang Cheng heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this girl didn't stupidly say that her common name was Hui Lin. Hui Lin. Lin Ruoshi frowned. Although she felt that the name was a little strange, she didn't think too much about it. "How long are you staying here? Are you here for work?" Yang Cheng wanted to help Hui Lin answer no, but unexpectedly, Hui Lin suddenly nodded. "That's right. Sister, can you help me find a job?" Hui Lin looked at Lin Ruoshi expectantly. Yang Cheng turned around abruptly and was completely dumbfounded. This girl was still looking for a job in Zhonghai. She really wasn't going back to Amei? Lin Ruoshi didn't think too much about it. In her opinion, a girl like Hui Lin should be of working age and had come all the way to Yangcheng. Although Lin Ruoshi found it strange that Yang Chun, who had been abroad for a long time and had such a complicated background, still had relatives, Hui Lin looked weak and had a pure personality. Lin Ruoshi thought that she should be an ordinary girl. Finding a job and finding a man was probably what the elders in the family expected of her. It had to be said that because Yang Cheng said that Hui Lin was his distant cousin, Lin Ruoshi was quite concerned. After all, since they knew each other, Yang Cheng didn't have any relatives or friends. It was rare for a girl to come to Lin Ruoshi, and she was quite pleasing to the eye. Therefore, Lin Ruoshi was willing to help her. Finding a job depends on what you are good at. Have you graduated from university? Lin Ruoshi asked. Yang Cheng laughed inwardly. This girl had been living with her grandmother in Shu Mountain since she was young. How could she have the chance to go to university? She was probably taught by a one-to-one private tutor since she was young. After all, the Lin family had the resources to train their only granddaughter. But unexpectedly, Hui Lin suddenly nodded and blinked her bright eyes. She said seriously, "I have a university diploma. I'll show it to my sister." After saying that, she didn't wait for Yang Cheng to say anything. She put down the bowl and chopsticks and ran upstairs in a hurry. Yang Cheng was confused. Why was it completely different from what he had imagined? How could this little nun have a university diploma? Seeing that Yang Cheng didn't believe her, Lin Ruoshi frowned and said, "Don't you know whether your cousin graduated from university or not? What kind of brother are you?" I really don't know," Yang Cheng said with a bitter face. Lin Ruoshi snorted coldly and didn't give Yang Cheng any face. "Fortunately, I'm here. Otherwise, such an innocent girl would definitely be ruined by you." Yang Cheng curled his lips. He felt a little upset. Didn't they agree to divorce in half a year? Even if she found out that he was having an affair, they had already talked about it a long time ago. He didn't hide it from her on purpose. Did this woman have to be so unhappy with him? Moreover, the two of them had never made any vows of eternal love. When they got married, they had said that they wouldn't interfere with each other's private life. He couldn't even be considered as betrayal. However, Yang Qing also knew that this was not the time to annoy Lin Ruoshi, so he just ate without saying a word. After a while, Hui Lin, who was wearing loose white home clothes, trotted down from upstairs like a ball of white cotton. She put a stack of red certificates and some unknown books in front of Lin Ruoshi. She said shyly, "These are my diplomas and certificates. Sister, you can have a look." Lin Ruoshi didn't expect Hui Lin to have so many things. She casually took a look, and her expression became a little interesting. She looked up and down at Hui Lin in confusion. Hui Lin's face looked like it was about to drip blood. Mother Wang advised, Miss, don't look at Miss Hui Lin like that. Look at how embarrassed she is. Lin Ruashi retracted her gaze and sighed softly. I didn't mean to look at you that way. I'm just surprised. I didn't expect you to have already gotten 2 master's degrees from Tsinghua University at such a young age. Yang Cheng, who had just drunk a mouthful of hot soup, almost spat it out. He looked up and took a closer look at the certificates in Lin Ruashi's hands. Wasn't that right? It seemed like Abbess Yin Miao had used her connections to get all sorts of identification and education certificates for her granddaughter. Even though Lin Ruashi found it strange, she didn't say anything since she was holding a genuine diploma and certificates in her hands. She flipped through them again, and her expression became even weirder. She asked, "You're also the grand prize winner of the National Pipa Performance Competition and the Guqin Performance Competition?" Among the pile of certificates in Hui Lin's hands, there were 2 certificates that were the grand prize winners of the National Pipa Performance Competition and the Guqin Performance Competition. Hui Lin didn't stay silent this time. She smiled sweetly and said, "Yes, I got them when I was 17. Grandma brought me to the competition." These 2 certificates were genuine. After all, Abbess Yin Miao had taught her granddaughter in the traditional way. Other than martial arts, Hui Lin was also proficient in the 4 arts. However, other than special times like competitions, Hui Lin spent most of her time studying on the mountain. Following that, Lin Ruashi's expression became more and more interesting. Among the pile of documents in Hui Lin's hands, there were first prize of the 3rd Hua Xia Sword Dance Competition, first prize of the 2nd National Youth Go Competition, honorary member of the Hua Xia Calligraphy Association, honorary member of the Hua Xia Artists Association, gold medal of the 7th National Youth Dance Competition. In the end, when Lin Ruashi looked back at the 2 master's diplomas from Tsinghua University in economics and advertising media, she felt that they were nothing. Even someone as proud as Lin Ruashi felt ashamed of the girl in front of her. How much power was hidden in her petite body for her to be able to do so many things at once. Seeing that Lin Ruashi wasn't saying anything, Hui Lin was a little worried and asked, "Sister Lin, is it not enough? I still have a few certificates, but they're all 2nd place. Should I bring them over too?" Chapter 298. Hearing Hui Lin's scary suggestion, Lin Ruashi raised her hand to stop her. "Enough. You're very outstanding. I'm starting to admire you." This was the truth. Lin Ruashi felt that it was already very impressive for her to graduate from university at the age of 20 and take over Yulei International. There would always be someone better than her. Although Yang Cheng's cousin was shy, if she were to show off her achievements, a lot of people would be scared to death. "Then what kind of job do you think I should do?" Although it wasn't Hui Lin's first time living in the secular world, it was her first time looking for a job. Moreover, she was unfamiliar with Zhonghai and didn't have her own ideas. In Hui Lin's naive mind, it wasn't her concern whether her grandmother hated Lin Ruashi or not. Lin Ruashi was her sister by blood. Therefore, she would directly treat Lin Ruashi as her sister. This was also the reason why Hui Lin behaved so intimately with Lin Ruashi when they first met. Hui Lin felt that as long as she behaved well and was obedient, even if Lin Ruashi knew that she was the granddaughter of her enemy, she would still accept her. Lin Ruashi was a little surprised by Hui Lin's dependence. It was as if this girl wasn't Yang Cheng's relative, but her own. "I think it would be a pity if your talents were wasted. If you like it." Lin Ruashi turned to look at Yang Cheng, who was eating and drinking. "You could go to your cousin's company and learn some knowledge about music and dance. You can consider becoming a singer or movie star in the future. If you don't like singing, dancing, or acting, you can also come to our company's headquarters. I can arrange for you to work with another sister with the surname Mo in the Ministry of Finance. You could be her assistant and let her teach you how to do things. What do you think?" Hui Lin thought about it seriously and asked carefully, "Sister, I like singing and playing the piano. I don't like dancing or acting. Can I also be a singer?" "Sure, but pop music is different from classical music. You still need to learn systematically from your teacher," Lin Ruashi said. Hui Lin thought of something and asked, "Are we going to be like those women on TV, wearing only a few clothes and singing on the stage?" A rare smile appeared on Lin Ruoshi's face. It seemed that Hui Lin's innocence had infected her and made her feel more relaxed. Not necessarily. Everyone's style is different. If you don't like the sexy look, you can use your music to conquer people. Many singers do nothing but sing, but people still like them very much. Then I'll go to Yang. Cousin's company, Hui Lin said happily. When I was with my grandmother, she only allowed me to sing some old songs. Actually, I like pop songs very much, but I haven't had the chance to learn them. Lin Ruoshi smiled and said, "You can spend about a year to learn. You're still young. If you don't think it's suitable, you can work behind the scenes or do something else." "No, as long as I want to do it, I can definitely do it well. Sister, look, I earned all these certificates with my own hard work." Hui Lin was very confident. Lin Ruoshi nodded and looked at Hui Lin with a special affection and doting gaze. Initially, Yang Cheng wanted to ask Hui Lin if she really understood the meaning of being a singer. After all, she had lived in the mountains for most of her life. However, when he saw how Lin Ruoshi and Hui Lin were smiling at each other, his heart warmed up. He felt that it didn't matter anymore, as long as they were happy. Blood was thicker than water. Although Hui Lin didn't dare to reveal her identity, and Lin Ruoshi didn't know that Hui Lin was her biological sister, the simple interaction made the two girls feel that they were connected to each other, and it was very easy for them to get close. After dinner, Hui Lin obediently followed Mother Wang into the kitchen to clean up the dishes. This scene made Lin Ruoshi even more fond of this girl whom she had met for the first time. Suddenly, she remembered the day when Yang Cheng talked to her about letting his distant cousin live here. He also promised something else. Lin Ruoshi reminded Yang Cheng with a cold face, "Now, I'll let Hui Lin live here. Don't forget that you promised to bring Jinxiu back to the orphanage." Yang Cheng was watching TV with a toothpick in his mouth. After hearing this, he nodded and said, "I know, but I have to choose a suitable date. We'll talk about it in a few days." Lin Ruoshi said coldly, "Just don't forget it. If you don't want to, just say it. I'll bring Jinxiu back, so we don't have to waste time. Don't doubt me. I'll definitely keep my promise." Yang Cheng said. Lin Ruoshi suddenly felt a pain in her heart. Will he keep his promise? Does that mean that the divorce is set in half a year? Suddenly, she hated Yang Cheng even more. Lin Ruoshi glared at him fiercely, ran upstairs, and slammed the door. Yang Cheng looked at this scene in a daze. He didn't understand what he did to anger this woman. Ever since he became the director of Yulei Entertainment, it was difficult for Yang Cheng to bring breakfast for the girls in the public relations department every day. Therefore, after discussing with his female colleagues, he lightened his burden and only brought breakfast once or twice. As it was Hui Lin's first day in the company, Yang Cheng naturally had to bring her along. Therefore, after accompanying Hui Lin and Lin Ruoshi for breakfast, Yang Cheng drove Hui Lin to work at the company. Before Lin Ruoshi left, she said to Hui Lin, "Let this guy bring you there today. In the future, just sit in the same car with me. It's just across the road, so it's very close." Hui Lin didn't ask much and agreed. Although she didn't understand why Lin Ruoshi would make such a request, Hui Lin was very happy to be able to spend more time with Lin Ruoshi. Since young, she only had Abbas Yun Miao as her family. Most of the time, she couldn't call her grandma, but master. Suddenly, she could live and work with an older sister of the same generation. The simple-minded Hui Lin felt especially blessed. On the way to the company, Hui Lin sat in the front passenger seat uneasily. She glanced at Yang Cheng from time to time. This ordinary-looking but terrifying man beside her. Hui Lin liked him a little, but was also a little afraid of him. Yang Cheng saw that Hui Lin wanted to say something, but stopped on second thought. He smiled weirdly and said, "If you keep looking at me like this, I'll think that you have a crush on me." Hui Lin blushed and immediately shook her head like a rattle drum. No, I just have a question." "What question?" "Just say it." "A woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the sea. Aren't you making things difficult for me by asking me to look for a needle in a haystack?" Yang Cheng pouted. Hui Lin hesitated for a while before asking, "Why does elder sister seem to dislike brother Yang?" After thinking for a long time, Hui Lin felt that it was more appropriate to call Yang Cheng brother. Hui Lin had a feeling that calling him brother-in-law would make Lin Ruoshi unhappy. Yang Cheng smiled bitterly and said, "Your question is very profound. I don't know why your elder sister always dislikes me. If you want to explain the reason, it seems like she started to be very cold toward me after I told her that I would divorce in half a year. Oh, right. She saw me with another woman outside." Huilin seemed to have heard some explosive news. Divorce? Why? Why does Brother Yang want to divorce elder sister? Suddenly, Huilin recalled that Abbess Yun Miao had said that she would be Yang Cheng's wife. Could it be that Yang Cheng wanted to divorce her before marrying her? Thinking of this, Huilin's fair face looked as though it had been dyed with rouge. Her watery eyes were filled with complicated emotions and nervousness. When Yang Cheng mentioned the word divorce, he couldn't help but feel heavy-hearted. He didn't pay much attention to Huilin's strange expression and said faintly, "In this world, there are many things that can't be done just by liking or disliking someone. The word fate is very vague, but it's very important. I think I'm not fated to be with her. I'm indeed not a good man. When your elder sister wanted me to be her husband, it was just an act. To be honest, I still don't know if she has feelings for me or if it's just a responsibility. In short, I think it's a good choice for both of us to separate. I won't be a burden to her, and I'll be free." When Huilin heard this, she was a little disappointed. She replied with an "oh," even though she didn't really understand. "All right," Yang Cheng asked curiously, "why do you want to work in Zhonghai?" Huilin said softly in embarrassment. "Grandma said that before she says that I can go back, I have to stay here. Moreover, she won't give me any living expenses. So, I can only work. Yin Miao, you're not a vegetarian, Abbess. You're a witch who eats raw meat and drinks blood." Yang Cheng screamed at his heart. They arrived at Lei Entertainment. As soon as they entered the company, Huilin, who was dressed in a light-colored winter dress, attracted a lot of attention. Although Huilin wasn't as beautiful as Lin Ruoshi, she was still a beautiful and refined young girl. Especially the quiet temperament cultivated in the mountains. It made the nobility in her bones more approachable and likable. Zhao Tong was in charge of the internal operations of the company. Therefore, Yang Cheng brought Huilin directly into Zhao Tong's office. When Zhao Tong saw that it was Yang Cheng and that there was a beautiful girl behind him, he didn't know. The girl seemed to be very attached to Yang Cheng as she followed him closely. Zhao Tong immediately looked at Yang Cheng with an ambiguous gaze. "Director Yang, good morning. Is this lady your girlfriend?" Chapter 299. Huilin, who had lowered her head and did not dare to breathe in this unfamiliar place, almost fainted when she heard that she was Yang Cheng's girlfriend. She clasped her hands together nervously, and her palms were sweaty. Yang Cheng pushed Zhao Tang's forehead with one hand. "What's wrong with your eyes? Do I look like an old cow preying on young grass?" "Director, you're not old at all," Zhao Tang said as he covered his aching forehead. "This is my cousin. She's very talented. I've discussed with General Lin and decided to let her come to our company to receive professional vocal and dance training. I'll let you arrange professional lessons for her," Yang Cheng said. Zhao Tang suddenly understood. He looked at Huilin from head to toe. This girl indeed had the ability to become a superstar. Since Lin Ruoshi thought that she was good enough, she must be extraordinary. So he said, "No problem. The musicians and choreographers we've hired are all master level. We're just worried that we don't have any outstanding students." The following matters were much easier to handle. Yang Chun let Huilin follow Zhao Tang's arrangements to go directly to Lei Entertainment's recording studio and dance classroom for assessment. Based on the specific strength, they would determine from which level to start teaching. Yang Cheng could not accompany Huilin all the time. So he said to Huilin, "When you're done with your training, call me directly when you want to go back." Huilin said awkwardly, Can I call my sister?" Yang Cheng was depressed. "Do you dislike me that much? You want your sister to send you back on the first day?" "No, all right. Do whatever you want." Yang Cheng did not want to listen to the reason. He knew that this girl was thin-skinned. It would be more comfortable to be with Lin Ruoshi, who was also a woman. Indeed, Huilin didn't dare to stay with Yang Cheng for a long period of time. Especially after Zhao Tang mentioned that she was his girlfriend, she became more and more shy and afraid. She felt that if others thought that she and Yang Cheng were a couple, she would feel sorry for Lin Ruoxi. As for what Yang Cheng said about having an affair and wanting to divorce, Hui Lin felt that it was a distant matter, and she wasn't too sure about it. Yang Cheng returned to his office. Just as he was about to sit down and turn on the computer to play games, Wang Jie knocked on the door and walked in. Wang Jie, who was holding a stack of documents in her hand, asked with some embarrassment, "Director, are you free at noon?" Yang Cheng shook his head. "Nothing, what's wrong?" Wang Jie said awkwardly. "There's a social event at noon. Logically speaking, I can go with my driver and assistant, but there's an emergency meeting at Yulei's headquarters today, so I'd like to ask the director to go on my behalf. I don't know if it's possible, social event?" Yang Cheng scratched his head. To be honest, he didn't really like this kind of thing. Wang Jie probably knew that too, so she looked at him helplessly and pitifully. Yang Cheng asked, "Who's the other person?" Wang Jie heard that there was a chance, and she immediately perked up. "It's a rising director who's gotten a little bit of fame recently. His name is Huang Hai, and he's from Shandong. His last film earned $12 million at the box office with a production cost of $3 million, so he's a little bit famous. This time, he took the initiative to look for our company, hoping that we can invest in a small production film that costs about $5 million. Maybe he's also interested in our reputation, and other big companies don't have any positions for him. So, he's inviting us to talk, right?" Yang Cheng asked. "You can say that we're negotiating on equal terms. After all, he has a certain level of capability, so he doesn't have to look for us. It's just that our company has just started, and many rising directors want to work with us. After all, if their first film is successful, they can become the head director of our company. This is very important in an entertainment company according to seniority," Wang Jie explained. Yang Cheng roughly understood. The newly established Yulei Entertainment was a delicious cake in the eyes of rising directors and actors. Those who couldn't get high treatment from other big established companies all wanted to come to Yulei to get the treatment of a founding hero. Originally, I wanted to look at his script and see how his character and work ethic are. If there's no problem with his character and capability, I'll sign the contract with him. But the emergency meeting at the headquarters is very important, and I've always been in charge of that work, so I thought of you, director. After all, you were the one who went to Hong Kong to negotiate with Muyun. This kind of work should be very easy for you, director." Wang Jie also praised Yang Cheng at the same time. Everyone loved to hear compliments. Although the time in Hong Kong didn't give Yang Cheng any good memories, Yang Cheng still softened. After thinking for a while, he said, "Put the documents down. I'll go over at noon." Wang Jie heaved a sigh of relief. If Yang Cheng didn't agree, she really didn't know who to call. After all, the company was newly established, and there weren't enough capable people. After Wang Jie left, Yang Cheng picked up the documents and looked at the resume of that director, Huang Hai, as well as the project he planned this time. Finally, he saw the appointed location at noon. It was a slightly famous entertainment club in Zhonghai called Fragrant Coconut. Looking at this location, Yang Cheng frowned. If he remembered correctly, this place was near Bar Street. Although it was called an entertainment club, to put it bluntly, it was also a place of pleasure. Many shameful services appeared there. This was probably one of the reasons why Wang Jie didn't want to go. But she couldn't turn down this kind of work just because she didn't like the place, so she used the excuse of the headquarters meeting to give it to Yang Cheng. After all, it wasn't easy for a man to get into trouble at such an occasion. At noon, Yang Cheng drove to Fragrant Coconut Club alone. This was a shop with a Southern Island-style exterior decoration. Although it was already winter, the two waitresses at the door still had their fair arms and legs exposed. It was just that they were wrapped in thick vests on top of their thin clothes. After entering the interior of the club, there was a corridor decorated with warm colors and 2 rows of private rooms. After Yang Cheng reported the number of the private room they had agreed on, he followed the attendant through 2 corners and finally arrived at the appointed location. When he opened the door, the spacious room was lit with 3 floor-to-ceiling craft lamps. The lighting wasn't bright, but it wasn't dark either. The sofa was red, the carpet was gray, and a large LCD TV was playing a music video. He didn't know what song it was, but it sounded like a Korean dance song. The three people who were sitting on the sofa immediately stood up. One of them was a tall, middle-aged man in his 30s with a mustache. He was the director, Huang Hai. The other two were a middle-aged man with a slightly bald head and a pretty woman with heavy makeup. "Welcome, Director Yang. I'm flattered. I didn't expect you to come in person." Huang Hai extended his hand enthusiastically and walked up to shake Yang Cheng's hand with force. Yang Cheng knew that Wang Jie purposely said that she wanted to come. This was also a method to make Huang Hai feel respected. "You're welcome, Director Huang. Since we're working together, of course we have to show our sincerity," Yang Cheng said faintly. Huang Hai nodded repeatedly and introduced to Yang Cheng. "This is the producer who works with me, Luo Chang'an. This lady is my wife and also a second-rate actress in the industry, Ailey. However, I don't think Director Yang has heard of her because she's not that famous." Yang Cheng understood. She was probably a small-time actress who bought the lottery to marry Huang Hai when she was successful. Now that Huang Hai was successful, she became the director's wife. After greeting Luo Chang'an and Ellie, Yang Chen sat down with the three of them. The waiter served some pastries and wine. The English afternoon tea style with 3 layers of pastries was indeed a unique way to treat the guests. "Director Yang, please don't mind me. I just feel that it's a little extravagant and inefficient to have a traditional meal on the table to talk about the movie. There are only 4 of us, so I chose to talk here. I hope Director Yang can understand," Huang Hai explained with a smile. Anyone would think that such an excuse was a good reason. Not only did it make people feel that he was efficient, but it also made people feel that he was more sincere and reliable. Yang Cheng smiled. "You're welcome, Director Huang. I'm a rather casual person. Let's talk business." All right. Director, you're a straightforward person. However, since it's our first meeting, we should have a drink, or else it'll be too impolite," Huang Hai called out to Ailey, who was sitting at the side with a smile. "Ailey, open the wine and pour some for us." Ellie answered with a sweet voice. Vaguely, she even winked at Yang Chun before running to the side to open the bottle of wine. Luo Chang'an took out the proposal of the new movie and the general outline from the folder and handed them to Yang Cheng. He said with a flattering smile, "Director Yang, I guarantee with my more than 20 years of experience that this movie will definitely be a hit. As long as the investment is enough and the effects are good, it won't be hard for us to win the Golden Statue or the Golden Horse Award." Yang Cheng took a look at the proposal. It was a low-budget comedy action movie. It was a popular comedy movie that exuded a bit of philosophy. However, when Yang Cheng took a closer look at the estimated cost, it was different from the information Wang Jie gave him. The cost was actually 8 million, which was 3 million more. "Director Huang, in the proposal that our company manager showed me, the budget for this movie was only 5 million. Why did it suddenly increase by 3 million? Yang Cheng stared into Huang Hai's eyes, not letting any detail go. Chapter 300. Huang Hai was either honest in his heart or he was already prepared. He didn't seem to be surprised and said, "It's like this, Director Yang. We only calculated the budget yesterday. We underestimated the price of some CGI before, so this problem occurred. But Director Yang, please don't mind it too much. The theme and design of this movie are pretty good. You can take your time to watch it. I believe you'll be satisfied." After saying that, he took the wine glass that his wife, Ailey, brought over and handed it to Yang Cheng. "Here, I'll drink first to thank Director Yang for coming here personally." Yang Cheng took the wine glass, clinked it with Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an's, and drank the entire glass. He sneered in his heart. CGI? Did these two think that he was a layman or a greenhorn? Not to mention that this kind of low-budget movie didn't need CGI. Even if it did, why would they suddenly increase the price by 3 million? Did they think that the investors were fools? "Director Huang, I feel that there's a problem with your budget. This is a problem of credibility. If it was 8 million, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today." Yang Cheng put the documents in his hands to the side. Huang Hai smiled awkwardly and pulled Ailey over. "Ailey, quickly pour some wine for Director Yang. Let's toast Director Yang so that he can calm down." Ailey blushed shyly, but she skillfully squeezed her body to Yang Cheng's side. Intentionally or unintentionally, Half of her plump breasts were pressed against Yang Cheng's arm, and her soft thighs were pressed against Yang Cheng's thighs. Her body was soft and emitted the classic fragrance of Chanel No. 5. After pouring half of Yang Cheng's wine glass, and some for herself, Ailey whispered to Yang Cheng, "Director, don't be angry. Let's talk about it slowly. Come, little sister will toast you." Little sister? Yang Cheng almost laughed out loud. This woman was at least 30 years old, but she was dressed like a little girl and even called him little sister in front of him. If it was any other man, his legs would probably turn to jelly and he couldn't take it anymore. No wonder he chose such a place. It turned out that he wanted to make the most of his little celebrity wife. Feeling the scent of female hormones on Ellie's body, Yang Chen suddenly felt his blood heating up, especially in his dantian, where there was a warm current flowing through. At this moment, Yang Chen finally understood why he had no choice but to let the waiter open the bottle of wine and let Allie open it. It was because he had drugged his wine. Unfortunately, although this drug could make him have some physiological reactions, because of his special physique, it basically only had a small effect of excitement. It couldn't achieve the desired effect. However, all of this made Yang Cheng feel interested. In the past, when she watched entertainment news on TV, they always talked about unspoken rules and such. She didn't expect that one day she would also be unspoken rules. However, this could be considered as forcing the unspoken rules. Allie's chest rubbed against Yang Cheng's arm. She looked at Yang Cheng coquettishly. "Director Gidge, are you hot? I think the heater in the room is a bit high. Do you want to take off your jacket?" Yang Chun snickered in his heart and made a very cooperative and confused expression on his face. After drinking the wine that Ellie poured for him in one gulp, he nodded. "It's a little hot. It's making my head a little dizzy. Help me take it off." Saying that, he turned his back to Ellie. Allie and Huang Hai looked at each other and sneered. Luo Chang'an secretly used his phone to make a call. The next moment, Huang Hai's phone rang. Huang Hai picked up the phone and shouted a few words. Then, he stood up apologetically and said to Yang Cheng, "Director Yang, there's an emergency and I need to go out with Chang'an. We'll discuss something and we'll be back soon. Please take a seat first." Yang Cheng waved his hand. "It's fine. You go ahead with your work. I'll eat something." "Allie, take good care of Director Yang," Huang Hai said solemnly. Then, he led Luo Chang'an out of the room. When the door was closed, only Yang Cheng and Allie were left in the room. Allie helped Yang Cheng take off his jacket, leaving only a sweater and thermal underwear inside. A cold, white palm suddenly slid across Yang Cheng's face. Allie said softly with a hint of infatuation, "Yang Gidge, you're so handsome. Your figure is great too." As she spoke, Allie's hand caressed Yang Cheng's chest. Her lilac tongue peeked out from her lips. Under Yang Cheng's eyes, she revealed a kind of hunger unique to women. Unfortunately, because they were too close, Yang Cheng only noticed the thick layer of powder on Allie's face and the bumps under the powder. It seemed like time had eroded a lot of this woman's youth. Although she pretended to be young and pure, she was still a woman in her 30s. If it wasn't for the fact that she was a free labor, Huang Hai would have replaced her with a young lady. When Yang Cheng thought about how many times this woman had sold herself for Huang Hai's promotion, and how she had probably lost the chastity and emotions of a normal woman, he wasn't interested in touching her at all. He felt sad and bored at the same time. At this moment, one of Allie's hands had unknowingly reached Yang Cheng's crotch. Although Yang Cheng wasn't really affected by the aphrodisiac, he still reacted to the woman's provocation. The moment Allie touched Yang Cheng's weapon, her body stiffened. The ferocity of that thing was beyond her imagination. However, the more it was like this, the more excited Allie felt. Being able to get satisfaction after work was a very blissful thing in Allie's eyes. Unfortunately, Allie didn't manage to seduce Yang Cheng any further. She suddenly felt dizzy and fainted. Yang Cheng withdrew his hand from the back of Allie's neck and pushed this woman who wouldn't wake up for a while to the side. He stood up and put on his jacket. Then, Yang Cheng turned off all the lights in the room, causing the room to become pitch black. Even if it was daytime, one wouldn't be able to see their fingers in front of them. Only then did he walk to the door and quietly wait for Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an to come back and check the results. After around 15 minutes, the door was gently pushed open. Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an discovered that the room was pitch black. They could only vaguely see someone on the sofa, so they thought that it was done. Damn it, little bitch. You didn't even inform us when you were done. Are you addicted to doing it with this youngster? Huang Hai cursed. Luo Chang'an laughed evilly and said, "It's not like you don't know that this bitch can't be satisfied even if the two of us do it together. 30 is like a wolf. This woman gets more and more energetic as she gets older." Damn it. Even the lights were turned off. Could it be that she made a big move and did it all over the room? That's weird. Logically speaking, there should be a smell. How long has it been? At most, it's just one shot. What smell? Why is this woman still lying there? Luo Chang'an said in bewilderment. Why are you moving? Just maintain that position. It'll be convenient for us to take pictures. Huang Hai muttered as he walked to the nearest standing lamp, according to his memory. Just as he was about to turn on the light, suddenly, the light was turned on. Huang Hai was startled. He took 3 steps back in panic and almost fell down. They only saw Yang Cheng standing next to the lamp with a weird smile on his face, looking at the two of them in ridicule. Although they didn't know why Yang Cheng was fine after drinking the wine with the aphrodisiac, Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an immediately understood that their scheme had been exposed. Ali, who was lying on the sofa, didn't succeed at all. Director Yang, you. Huang Hai didn't know what to say. His face turned green and white. Yang Cheng slowly walked toward the two of them. What about me? Aren't I waiting here for you to take pictures of me? Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an's faces were ashen. It seemed that Yang Cheng understood everything. The two of them looked at each other. At present, they only had 2 paths. First, Yang Cheng would let them go and pretend that nothing had happened. Their cooperation would also fall through. Second, they could suppress Yang Cheng. Since their scheme had been seen through, they might as well go all out and think of a way to shut Yang Cheng up. Almost instantly, Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an made up their minds. Luo Chang'an closed the door, locked it, and pounced towards Yang Cheng together with Huang Hai. From her point of view, it wasn't difficult for 2 men to deal with 1 man. As long as they took off Yang Cheng's clothes and got Ali to cooperate, they could still take pictures of him and use them to threaten him. When a person got angry out of humiliation, they wouldn't be able to think things through calmly. The two of them didn't think too much about why Yang Cheng wasn't drugged by such a strong aphrodisiac. The two of them's attacks were naturally futile. Yang Cheng casually blocked them with both of his hands. Then he easily grabbed the two of them by their collars and threw them towards the wall beside the sofa. 2 muffled bangs resounded. Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an were knocked against the wall and fell on top of Ali's fainted body. Ali was woken up by the two of them. She opened her eyes in a daze, but she didn't know what had happened. Huang Hai and Luo Chang'an were completely scared silly. How could this man have such enormous strength? This time, they directly hit against an iron plate. They couldn't beat him, and they couldn't escape either. They could only endure the intense pain all over their body and throw themselves on the carpet, begging Yang Cheng for mercy. Director Yang, we were wrong. Please be magnanimous and let us off this time. We didn't want this to happen. The market isn't doing well right now. So you guys have your reasons. What should we do? You guys locked the door and brought all the equipment. I'm going to let you guys down today. Yang Cheng shook his head regretfully. Huang Hai's smile was uglier than crying. Director Yang, I know I was wrong. Please give me a chance. I've been in this industry for so many years, and it wasn't easy to get to this point. The 3 of us are just trying to make a living. In our industry, who doesn't have a great background? There are many dirtier people in this industry than us. Director, please do us a favor and let us off this time. We won't dare to do it again. Yang Cheng knew what Huang Hai said was the truth. However, they drugged him and wasted his precious gaming time. He had to get some interest, so he extended his hand towards Huang Hai. Huang Hai was stunned and immediately reacted. He took out his leather wallet from his pocket and stuffed it all into Yang Cheng's hand. Director, I'll give you all the cash and bank cards here. Please don't call the police, okay? Why would I want your money? I'm asking you to give me the camera, Yang Chung said with a weird smile. Ah, Huang Hai said sadly. Director, why do you want the camera? It didn't manage to film mine, so I'll film yours. Yang Chung smiled playfully. Just now? Didn't you guys say that the three of you were playing together? I'd like to see it. Come, show me a scene and I'll film it. Then, I won't call the police. Luo Chang'an had a heartbroken expression on his face. Director Yang, isn't this equivalent to asking for our lives? Yang Cheng's face turned cold. Do you guys want to hand over your lives to me or to the police? This time, the three of them were speechless. Huang Hai took out his wallet in a daze, took out a digital camera, and handed it to Yang Chung. Half an hour later, Yang Chung walked out of the clubhouse with a small SD memory card in his hand. Even when he got into his car, Yang Chung could still feel that his little brother was still holding its head high. It couldn't be helped. It had been a long time since he had seen such a real fight between the three of them. Yang Chung suddenly remembered that when he had rescued Lu Mingyu from the hotel, he had also filmed a video like this. It was just that department head Ma was too old and didn't have much passion. The video this time was of high quality and was much more exciting. It had been a long time since he had a good time with Lu Mingyu. She was a woman who wouldn't contact you if you didn't contact her. Even if she had a lover, she was still reserved and prideful. Yang Chung thought of that night facing the sea, hugging Lu Mingyu's perfect and mature body on a tall building and enjoying it crazily. He couldn't help but feel his heart burning, especially since there were still remnants of the aphrodisiac in his body. Yang Chung wanted to vent more and more. After taking a deep breath, Yang Chung started the car and fiercely stepped on the accelerator. The car returned in the direction of Yulei's headquarters. Chapter 301. Returning to Yulei International's HQ, Yang Chung took the elevator to the PR department's office. Because it was afternoon, many of the PR people who were in charge of business were not there. The office was quiet. Yang Chung walked softly to Lu Mingyu's office door. His hand turned the door. The door was not locked, so he directly walked in and locked the door. Lu Mingyu, who was seriously correcting something in her seat, unexpectedly took off her contact lenses and put on a pair of black-framed glasses for nearsightedness. The appearance of wearing glasses on the bridge of her nose highlighted a seductive intellectual beauty, especially the sharp contrast between the black and snow-white skin. It was even more eye-catching. Lu Mingyu saw Yang Chung suddenly burst into the office. Her pink little mouth opened in surprise. Her stunned expression revealed the unique cuteness of a mature sister. Yang Chung walked behind Lu Mingyu, his hands wrapped around Lu Mingyu's neck. The white skin on her neck revealed a layer of captivating red. Lu Mingyu wanted to avoid, but was somewhat reluctant. But in broad daylight, in her own office, this man's 100-pound body was like a pagoda covering her. Lu Mingyu had a burden on her body, and even more pressure in her heart, causing her breathing to quicken and her eyes to avoid eye contact. Why aren't you saying anything? Yang Chung moved closer to Lu Mingyu's earlobe and asked. Lu Mingyu pursed her thin lips. If I say it, are you willing to let go? No, Yang Chung said bluntly. You came here to do this kind of thing? Lu Mingyu humphed and said. Yang Chung smiled somewhat lewdly. If there was a mirror in front of him, Yang Chung would probably feel embarrassed. Kissing Lu Mingyu's cheek, Yang Chung let go of Lu Mingyu's neck. Taking out the SD card from his pocket, Yang Chung inserted the memory card into Lu Mingyu's computer. Open the video file inside and take a look, Yang Chung said. Lu Mingyu was a little confused, but she still followed Yang Cheng's instructions. After opening the folder, she clicked on the video file and played it. In just 3 seconds, Lu Mingyu's jade-like face was like a ripe red fruit in autumn, tender and beautiful. On the computer screen, 2 men and a woman were facing each other with their bodies intertwined and doing some improper actions. The erotic sounds and words were not what Lu Mingyu could imagine at all. They are, the client I met at noon insisted on putting on a show for me. Don't you think it's funny? Yang Chung said with a smile. Lu Mingyu turned her face and looked at Yang Chung, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. It's all because of you. Don't think I don't know. Back then, Department Head Ma was toyed with by you until he resigned. Yang Chen recalled the day when he saved Lu Mingyu and messed with department head Ma and his little sweetheart as if it was yesterday. He didn't expect that in just a few months, Lu Mingyu had already become his lover. The woman that department head Ma couldn't get after racking his brains had now become his. Lu Mingyu turned off the video on the computer, took out the SD card, and returned it to Yang Chung. I watched it. You keep it for yourself. I still have to work. You can go now. One of Yang Chen's hands suddenly reached out to Lu Mingyu's chest and grabbed her soft flesh with a little force. Lu Mingyu let out a soft moan and looked back at Yang Chung. What are you doing? This is the office. Although she knew that Yang Chung had a reason for releasing the video, Lu Mingyu didn't dare to have a hot scene in the office. Yang Chung breathed heavily and leaned close to Lu Mingyu's ear. I watched that show at noon and drank something I shouldn't have. If you kick me out now, I'll suffocate to death. Lu Mingyu reached out her hand and moved Yang Cheng's face away. You just want to vent, so you came to find me? Am I a plaything for you to vent? Yang Cheng looked at the angry Lu Mingyu with her almond-shaped eyes and smiled awkwardly. Why would I? It's just that I haven't been intimate with my Xiao Yuer for a long time, and I miss her very much. Flowery words. Do you think I'll believe you? If you miss me, why don't you call me? Don't think you can take advantage of me today. Anyway, I'm not your only lover. If you want to vent, find someone else. I have to work. You can leave. Lu Mingyu said without buying it. Yang Cheng looked up and down at Lu Mingyu's black office suit. It had a low collar, revealing the white sweater underneath. In the middle of the sweater was a creamy white button, wrapping around two perfectly round peaks. However, it was a bit tight, causing the gap in the center to open and close, revealing a few traces of purple. It was just like Lu Mingyu's violet pattern bra, very tempting. Even if it was just an impulse before, now that he was attracted by the beautiful scene in front of him, Yang Cheng couldn't control the male hormones in his body. Xiao Yuer, where did you buy this white sweater? It's too good. The color is good, and the size is also good. Yang Cheng licked his lips and said. Speaking of her clothes, Lu Mingyu wasn't in a hurry to push Yang Cheng out. Isn't it just an old piece of clothing? It's comfortable to wear, so I've been using it. It's not a good brand, but the material is cashmere. Yang Cheng clicked his tongue in admiration and said, the biggest advantage of this suit is that it can make others have a thought. What thought? Lu Mingyu couldn't help but ask. She thought to herself, could it be that this bad guy wants to praise her beauty? Yang Chun chuckled and said, every time I look at your clothes, I feel like ripping off all the buttons in the middle. Lu Mingyu's face of expectation turned into a face of shame and annoyance. She reached out her hand and randomly hit Yang Cheng's chest as she scolded. You're not a decent person. I told you not to harass me in the office. Get out, get out. Without waiting for Lu Mingyu to get up and push Yang Cheng out, Yang Cheng suddenly hugged Lu Mingyu's slender waist and lifted Lu Mingyu's entire delicate body. His two hands extended, one down and one up. His left hand stroked Lu Mingyu's lower abdomen, and his right hand moved up to grab a plump snow-white peak. Oh! With a slight need, Lu Mingyu felt as if her entire body had been struck by lightning. That mischievous devil's claw had pinched the little red grape on her chest and actually began to rub it. You! Let go of me. The woman, who had no strength left in her body, had a bit of pleading in her tone, but this kind of pleading was like pouring oil on a fire. Yang Cheng leaned his head over and kissed Lu Mingyu's lips from the side. After a few kisses, he said with a light smile, Baby, why do you sound like you can't wait any longer than me? You're bullying me. Lu Mingyu was so embarrassed that she didn't know what to say. She spoke with hidden bitterness like a little girl who was being bullied. However, Yang Cheng's next action made her completely speechless. Yang Cheng's lower body pushed forward and Lu Mingyu felt a lump of something rising up between her legs. Under the professional skirt was a thin, flesh-colored stockings that were smooth and textured. Yang Cheng let out a soft moan of enjoyment. The thigh meat gave him an incomparably wonderful sensation. Lu Mingyu could even feel the heat from Yang Cheng's thing. Having experienced being intimate with Yang Cheng twice, Lu Mingyu could deeply feel the vigorous and explosive power in this man's body and the ferociousness of that thing. A mature beauty who was nearing her 30s was at the age where she was especially sensitive and desired this kind of man's scent. Lu Mingyu hadn't seen Yang Cheng for a long time. Although she didn't say it out loud, she had been complaining about it for a long time and scolded him for being a heartless man countless times. She had rejected Yang Chen's flirtatious actions just now because of her pride. At this moment, as she smelled the familiar man's scent and felt the surging power below, Lu Mingyu felt her whole body go limp, and she didn't have an ounce of strength left in her. What made her feel incomparably bashful down, there was actually a feeling of emptiness. How could I be so shameless? Lu Mingyu muttered in her heart. However, after thinking about it, who cares? I already said that we're going to be lovers. Isn't he just a vixen? Doesn't this bad guy like me to be shameless? Thinking of this, Lu Mingyu suddenly turned over. Her two jade arms hooked around Yang Cheng's neck, and she took the initiative to step forward and kiss Yang Cheng passionately. Yang Cheng felt the woman's suppressed, crazy emotions. He couldn't help but move his hands nimbly. After fiddling with Lu Mingyu's chest, the jacket and sweater inside were unbuttoned, revealing the violet bra inside. The bra still had a hollowed-out pattern. The two delicate white and tender lumps trembled slightly, as if they were proudly expressing their desire to be ravaged. After grabbing one of them with one hand, Yang Cheng extended the other hand to Lu Mingyu's back and began to unzip Lu Mingyu's skirt. Suddenly, Lu Mingyu grabbed Yang Cheng's hand that was unzipping the skirt. Her two flowery lips also broke free from Yang Cheng's nibbling. She looked at Yang Cheng with watery eyes. Don't worry about the zipper. Wear a skirt. Yang Cheng was surprised. Lu Mingyu's sudden smile made a warm current rush to his head. He saw Lu Mingyu take the initiative to lie on the desk. The two snow-white lumps of flesh were squeezed into a round pancake. They all fell on the document paper. However, because they were too big, they were squeezed beyond the area of Lu Mingyu's chest. The soft pink flesh swelled on both sides of Lu Mingyu's chest. Lu Mingyu suddenly turned around. Her expression was a bit shy, a bit urgent, and a bit soft. Yang Cheng felt that the little tent below him was about to burst. He stepped forward and roughly lifted the skirt of Lu Mingyu's skirt, revealing the beautiful buttocks wrapped in flesh-colored pantyhose. After stroking the inverted triangle of buttocks with one hand, he rubbed it a few times. Then, without hesitation, he pulled the pantyhose down to her knees. Lu Mingyu suddenly felt that her paradise was exposed to the air. Not long after, a ball of boiling hot stuff came up to her, lingering at the edge of the stream, reluctant to leave. Stop playing. Hurry up. Lu Mingyu couldn't wait any longer. Although she felt that she was really like a coquettish fox, in front of the only man in her heart, what was there to be reserved? Yang Chun smiled evilly and looked at the office lady lying on the table with disdain like a king. Hurry up what? Make it clear. Lu Mingyu cursed in her heart. This bad guy, he still wants to humiliate himself at such a critical moment. However, this kind of joking malice made Lu Mingyu feel a sense of guilt. Hurry up, put your thing. With her eyes almost closed, Lu Mingyu stammered out the words that she had never dreamed of doing in her life. This sentence finally made Yang Cheng's desire explode. Without hesitation, he straightened his waist and joined with the stunner under him. Like a raging wave, it engulfed every inch of the man and woman's skin and every cell. Because they were in the office, there was a risk of being discovered at any time. However, this kind of stimulation was especially enjoyable for the two. In the serious and clean office, Yang Cheng wreaked havoc on the white body under him. After nearly an hour, he finally released Lu Mingyu, who was limp and half unconscious from having a few consecutive orgasms. The air was filled with an erotic smell that could destroy one's desire. A lot of embarrassing liquid was scattered on Lu Mingyu's leather chair and the carpet beside the desk. Kissing Lu Mingyu's flushed face, Yang Cheng smiled and said, "Shall you do you want me to help you clean up? I'll be happy to help you." Lu Mingyu's body was sore and weak. She felt as if her bones were placed on a cloud. It was extremely comfortable. However, when she heard that Yang Cheng wanted to help her clean up, she immediately thought that he was going to touch her there. She anxiously got up and covered her there. She pouted and said, "No, I'll do it myself. If you still want to do it, I'll die here today. Yang Cheng's little trick was exposed. He smiled awkwardly and let the woman do what she wanted. To be honest, he had only vented once, so he wasn't satisfied yet. However, at this moment, someone knocked on Lu Mingyu's office door. Chapter 302. The knock on the door made Lu Mingyu's heart jump to her throat. If someone found out that she, a department head, was having an affair with a man in the office, how could she raise her head in the company in the future? Yang Qing also slightly frowned and tidied up his clothes. Previously, he saw that the female PR staff outside were all dozing off and busy, so he didn't expect that someone would come in. Lu Mingyu hurriedly got up from the table and took a few tissues to wipe her body, the table, and the chair. Although it didn't look strange, Lu Mingyu knew very well that her face was full of lingering aftertaste. Anyone with a certain amount of experience would definitely notice that something was different. Moreover, in the middle of the day with Yang Cheng in the office, with the door locked, anyone would have special thoughts. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Are you trying to kill me? Lu Mingyu hatefully twisted Yang Cheng's arm. Yang Cheng smiled bitterly and said softly, "That's because of your cooperation. It's fine. Just say that we're discussing work. What work needs to be discussed with you? If you want to make up a lie, make it more convincing." Lu Mingyu rolled her eyes at Yang Cheng. At this moment, a familiar soft female voice came from outside the door. "Mingyu, are you inside?" Yang Cheng's nerves tightened. It was actually Mo Chinny's voice. Lu Mingyu's legs went soft, and her watery eyes widened. She didn't know how to answer. After a few complex expressions flashed across Yang Cheng's face, he silently walked to the door. "What are you doing?" Lu Mingyu lowered her voice. Seeing that Yang Cheng was actually going to open the door, her heart almost jumped out. It was fine if it was seen by the general PR staff in the department, but it was seen by Mo Chinny. Not to mention that Mo Chinny was his former boss and was now the second in command in the company. If she saw him like this, wouldn't it leave a bad impression? Yang Cheng gave her a relaxed smile and then opened the door, leaving only enough space for one person to enter. He winked at Mo Chinny, who was standing outside the door. Mo Chinny thought that it was Lu Mingyu who hadn't woken up from her afternoon nap. When she opened the door, she realized that it was Yang Cheng. Why would this guy be in this place at this time? "Little Qian, don't be in a daze. Come in," Yang Cheng said in a low voice. Mo Chinny was in a daze. Yang Cheng let her in, so she walked into the office. Yang Cheng quickly closed the door. The tall Mo Chinny was as flirtatious as ever. She was wearing a white windbreaker with a bright red scarf tied around her neck. Her long hair was tied up, and she was holding a folder in her hand. She looked like a fashion model walking around the office, but at this time, she was obviously here to discuss some work with Lu Mingyu. As soon as she entered the office, she smelled a familiar, embarrassing smell. Mo Chinny looked up and saw Lu Mingyu, whose clothes were a little messy. Her hair was messy, and her face was flushed. She was standing beside the desk with her legs in a mess. On the desk, the messy documents were scattered everywhere. Lu Mingyu's evasive eyes and Yang Cheng's pretentious look, coupled with the smell of hormones in the air. Not to mention that Mo Chinny was smart, coupled with her understanding of Yang Cheng and her own experience. She knew what had happened just now. Two red clouds appeared on Mo Chinny's face. She felt that the situation was extremely awkward, especially the man who was about to die next to her. He even grinned and winked at her. Previously, when she was in the public relations department, she felt that Yang Cheng was close to Lu Mingyu, Zhao Hongyan, and the others. But she didn't expect that Lu Mingyu, who was the most stable among them, had already fallen. However, thinking that she was also in the same situation, Mo Chinny felt sour in her heart. At the same time, she felt a bit resentful towards Yang Cheng. How many women had this guy harmed? Although she was only a third party and could only swallow her bitterness, she still felt very uncomfortable to actually see this kind of thing. "Mo, Department Head Mo, what's the matter?" Lu Mingyu pretended to be calm and asked with a somewhat bitter voice. Mo Chinny came back to her senses and replied with an "oh." She hurriedly replied, "There's a problem with the financial integration of the public relations department at the end of the year. I wanted to talk to you about it, but it doesn't seem to be very convenient. As soon as she finished speaking, Chini realized that she had said something wrong. What do you mean by inconvenient? Of course, it was inconvenient when she found out that there was something wrong with Lu Mingyu and Yang Chung. She wanted to pretend that she didn't know, but now she couldn't clear her name. Lu Mingyu really wanted to find a hole to hide in. It was over. In Chini's eyes, she had definitely become a witch. She did that kind of thing with a married man in the office in broad daylight, and she was even caught doing it. Did being a third party have to be so miserable? Just when Lu Mingyu and Chini had nothing to say, and both of them had heavy hearts and didn't know what to do, Yang Chung walked to Lu Mingyu's desk and reached out to tidy up the scattered documents on the desk. As he was tidying up, Yang Chung smiled at Chini and said, "Come over. There's nothing inconvenient about it. We're all on the same side." Chini was stunned for a moment before she understood what Yang Chung meant. Was he going to lay all his cards on the table? Lu Mingyu, on the other hand, didn't understand what was going on. She looked at Yang Chung in confusion before turning to look at Chini. Seeing Chini standing there indifferently, Yang Chung bitterly smiled and said, "Little Qian, don't stand there in a daze. Is there any point in pretending that you don't know? We've already come this far, and I'm being hypocritical by hiding it from you. If you pretend that you don't know, you're lying to yourself. Furthermore, do you think that I'm the kind of person who doesn't dare to admit what I did?" Chini took a deep breath and seemed to have gathered her courage. She walked forward and glared at Yang Chung. Then she smiled at Lu Mingyu, who was frozen on the spot. "To be honest, I feel a little uncomfortable, but I also know that you don't feel good. Being a lover and a mistress must be tough, right?" Lu Mingyu felt that her brain cells were not enough. The situation in front of her was beyond her imagination. Listening to Chini's words, it seemed that she had some kind of relationship with Yang Chung. Department head don't tell me. You and him. Without waiting for Lu Mingyu to finish, Chini nodded and said, "Yes, so you don't have to be so shy. Look at me, I'm so thick-skinned that I'm shameless." Yang Chung quickly interrupted Chini's words. "Little Qian, what are you saying? It's so unpleasant and shameless. If you want to clear up the matter and solve it, you have to face it calmly. Look, I, the culprit, am standing in front of you righteously. If you really want to talk about thick-skinned, I should be the thickest. You also know that you're thick-skinned? It's daytime, and the company is still working, but you came here to play with a woman. Can't you restrain yourself a little? If the person who came today wasn't me, but some other gossipy employee who saw you together with Mingyu and smelled this scent, what would you do?" Chini said angrily. Lu Mingyu suddenly woke up. At this moment, the crime scene had not been completely cleared up. She quickly took out a bottle of air freshener from the drawer and sprayed it around a few times. Only then did she feel a little more at ease. Yang Chung smiled bitterly and said, "It's all chemicals. Spraying too much will harm your body. If you didn't come, would I have needed to spray it?" Lu Mingyu gritted her teeth and replied. However, when she realized that she was still in front of Chini and in front of another kindred that seemed so magical to her, Lu Mingyu was about to go crazy. Chini sighed. From an initial panic and excitement, she gradually calmed down. In fact, Yang Chung had said before that he had more than one lover, so she was somewhat prepared in her heart. She smiled bitterly and said to Lu Mingyu, "We're not the real deal, so you don't have to be so nervous in front of me. To put it nicely, we're comrades who are honest with each other. To put it bluntly, we're both jackals of the same lair of vixens, so we're equal. Don't feel like you're in the wrong. If you want to blame someone, blame this guy. Rabbits don't eat the grass near their nest, but he has eaten everything." When Lu Mingyu heard this, she felt that it was quite reasonable. Since Chini was also a mistress, then how was she different from her? The two women couldn't help but feel a sense of kinship in their hearts. Yang Chung saw the bitterness and helplessness of the two women he loved, and he sighed in his heart. There was no fairness in this world. Since ancient times, no one could explain the feelings between men and women. The atmosphere was silent for a long time. Yangqing also didn't know what to say to break this atmosphere. In the end, he could only tentatively ask, "How about we go for dinner tonight? It's my treat. Anything is fine." Almost at the same time, Emo Qianni and Lu Mingyu swept a cold gaze over, looking at Yang Cheng with an unfriendly expression. "Do you think the current situation is that if you treat us to a meal, everything will be fine?" Emo Qianni said. "Do you think we are so easily fooled? Do you think we are 3-year-old girls?" Lu Mingyu said. Yang Cheng scratched his head in distress. "My 2 aunts, can you not be like this? I am about to die from anxiety. Say your stance. Scold me a few times. I know that I am indeed beastly at times, but I have never thought of hiding it from you and deceiving your feelings. I don't know how I got to where I am today. I just followed my feelings to this point. No matter which one of you I cut off, in addition to hurting you, it will also hurt me. I don't know how to tell you. I'll just say it like this. You can hit me, you can scold me, you can hate me, but you can't hate me because I love you. I promise, other than the spouse's name on the marriage certificate, whatever you want, as long as I have it, I will give it to you." After saying this from the bottom of his heart, Yang Cheng really wanted to take a few deep puffs on his cigarette, but he remembered that he was in an office, so he could only retract his hand and walk around in circles. This was too suffocating. Thinking back to when he was abroad, when did he ever feel so depressed because of women? That was why love was really not a good thing. Not to mention humans. Even if others called him a god, even a god couldn't handle it. After hearing this, Emo Qianni and Lu Mingyu turned their faces away at the same time and wiped the corners of their eyes. "Do you think you're the director of the Women's Federation or a female psychologist? You still want to do psychological counseling with us? It's not like we're taking things too hard. Why are you so anxious?" "That's right. We were just thinking about what to eat tonight. We have to drink together, right, Mingyu?" Emo Qianni winked at Lu Mingyu. Lu Mingyu nodded and said with a smile, "I know a good Italian restaurant. I will bring department head Emo there." "Don't call me department head. Just call me Qianni," Emo Qianni said with a smile. "All right, Qianni." Lu Mingyu pursed her lips and smiled, seeming to be a lot more relaxed. Seeing this, Yangqing knew that at least the knot in the 2 women's hearts had been untied for the time being, so he was a little comforted. He went up to them and said with a smile, "Bring me along. It's my treat." Emo Qianni glared at him. "Why are you interfering with a woman's meal? Why do we need you to treat us? It's not like we don't have money. If there's nothing else, hurry up and go back. We still have to talk about work." "Hey, don't be like this. How can you disregard your man?" Yang Cheng said unhappily and indignantly. "You're the one. You're begging us to eat with you. Do you want us to serve you after the meal? If that's the case, of course it's great." Yang Cheng smiled and said a little embarrassedly. Lu Mingyu glared at him and made eye contact with Emo Qianni. The 2 of them, one on the left and one on the right, forcefully pushed Yang Cheng out of the door. Get out, get out. We have to work. Don't push me. Can't I walk by myself?" Yang Cheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was already starting to dislike him. After shutting Yang Cheng out of the door, the 2 women looked at each other and saw their own faces in each other's eyes. They both laughed lightly. Chapter 303. After leaving Lu Mingyu's office, Yang Cheng was quite refreshed. Although he didn't know what the 2 women would talk about, at least he resolved the embarrassing crisis and didn't let the relationship between the 3 of them deteriorate. Although Yang Cheng was still calm before, in fact, his heart was beating nonstop. They were all clever people, so it was impossible to get away with it. He just said what he thought and didn't make too much trouble. Walking all the way to the elevator of the building, Yang Cheng pressed the button to go downstairs. It didn't take long for an elevator to come down. Opening the door, there were already 2 women standing in the elevator. Yang Cheng looked up and stopped his footsteps. It was Lin Ruoshi in a dark blue outfit and her assistant Wu Yu. He didn't know whether Lin Ruoshi was going out to work or going down to a certain floor to patrol, but she happened to be in this elevator. Seeing Yang Cheng suddenly appearing on the floor of the Public Relations Department, Lin Ruoshi obviously frowned slightly and her face was cold. Although she promised Yang Cheng to keep a position in the Public Relations Department, in fact, her work was all transferred to the new entertainment company. There was no other reason for Yang Chung to appear in the public relations department at this time, except for coming here to do something unrelated to work. If you want to go in quickly. Seeing Yang Chung stunned at the elevator, assistant Wu urged. Yang Chung didn't lower himself to her level. He silently walked into the elevator and stood side by side with Lin Ruoshi. The elevator was silent. Yang Chung felt that standing there without saying anything was suspicious, so he casually asked, "General Lin is going to patrol?" Wu frowned and said, "What does the president have to do with you?" Yang Chung sneered, "You're just an assistant. I'm the director of the branch. You have the right to control me?" Buddha also has 3 points of anger. This Wu didn't like him, but she wanted to belittle him with a casual question. That was too much. Sure enough, Wu suffered in silence. Her face turned red and she couldn't speak. "No, I'm going to welcome the new vice president," Lin Ruoshi replied calmly. New vice president? Yang Chung was puzzled. Ever since Lin Kuin's death, all the shares have been transferred to Lin Ruoshi. Yulei was basically a multinational company run by Lin Ruoshi alone. Therefore, the positions in the company were basically decided by Lin Ruoshi alone. The discussion at the shareholders' meeting was just a formality. Actually, whether there was a vice president or not depended on whether Lin Ruoshi was willing or not. Since this woman had always maintained the spirit of a workaholic, and the public relations department of Yulei was extremely outstanding, the vice president seemed to be redundant. Until last time, when Lin Ruoshi was recuperating for half a month, and Mo Chinny took over some of the responsibilities, Lin Ruoshi took the opportunity to make Mo Chinny the vice president. However, it was just a title, and most of the work was still done by Lin Ruoshi alone. Of course, Yang Chung found it strange that she suddenly wanted a vice president. Could it be that Lin Ruoshi changed her mind and wanted to give him some freedom? It's for the new materials product operation and the cooperation with Muyun. We in Hong Kong have sent people to enter each other's companies, so it's easier to communicate and manage, Lin Ruoshi explained briefly. Due to the success of the new materials development, Yulei's market share would increase rapidly soon. Hence, the workload would also increase dramatically. With the meaning of mutual trust and cooperation, Yulei and Muyun exchanged a management talent for a high-ranking position in each other's companies, and they would be responsible for the management of the new materials market. After hearing this, Yang Chung didn't ask anything else. However, he suddenly thought of whether he should also get a divorce in half a year and resign from his current job. However, when that happened, the cooperation that he was pulling strings for now would probably be affected. This was a problem. Yang Chung felt that he should find some time to talk to Lin Ruoshi alone. After arriving at the first floor and exiting the elevator, Lin Ruoshi left silently with Wu Yu to the parking lot. Yang Chung then returned to the entertainment company across the street alone. After returning to the floor of Yulei Entertainment, Yang Chung walked directly to Wang Jie's office. Wang Jie was typing something quickly. When she saw Yang Chung enter, she immediately stood up and said with a smile, "Director, how did it go? Can that Director Huang be trusted?" Yang Chung took out the SD card from his pocket and placed it in front of Wang Jie. He said expressionlessly, "This is the result of the negotiation. You can take a closer look at it. Just watch the video file." Wang Jie looked confused. She didn't understand what was going on. She stuffed the SD card into her laptop and opened the video file. After a while, Wang Jie closed the video in a panic. Wang Jie blushed and didn't dare to look at Yang Chung. "Director, what? Oh, didn't you say that Director Huang can't be trusted? In the video just now, the one in front of that woman is Director Huang. The one behind is the producer, and the woman lying on the sofa in the middle is the director's wife. They insisted on putting on this show for me and asked me to be their motion director and cinematographer. Luckily, they didn't ask me to be the dubbing. I don't even know how to dub for that woman," Yang Chung said with a distressed expression. Wang Jie was sweating profusely. She was full of shame. "Director, I'll definitely take a closer look before negotiating next time. I didn't expect that Huang Hai to be such a director." Yang Chung smiled relaxedly. "Wang Jie, before you came here, You didn't really come into contact with people in the entertainment industry, right? Yes, I do some public relations work, but I don't really come into contact with the entertainment industry, Wang Jie said. That's it then. Take a closer look next time. It's not for me. I'm a man and I won't be taken advantage of. You should pay attention to your own safety and remember to bring more people you trust to avoid suffering, Yang Cheng advised. Wang Jie thought she would be scolded, but she didn't expect Yang Cheng to mean this. She was grateful and agreed with him at the same time. Director, thank you. Yang Cheng smiled as he took out the SD card from Wang Jie's laptop. Don't tell me you want to keep this? Of course not. Wang Jie quickly waved her hand. The thing inside was too ugly. Yang Cheng crushed the SD card and threw it into the dustbin. He then said to Wang Jie, "Don't feel burdened because of what happened today, especially in front of me. I won't think that you're neglecting your duty. The hardest thing to understand in this world is the human heart. When you go to work in the future, you have to relax. Otherwise, going to work will be worse than going to the grave." Wang Jie chuckled. Director, you're exaggerating. Yang Cheng knew that his assistant was fine, so he didn't tease her anymore. He let Wang Jie continue working while he walked out of the office. He walked down the stairs and went to the music production room of Ulay Entertainment on the next floor. Due to the fact that the startup capital was extremely strong, Ulay Entertainment had its own recording studio and all kinds of music production rooms with all kinds of equipment. The artists and musicians who were contracted by the company could all conduct music creation and singing training here. Yang Cheng was a little worried about Hui Lin, who came to the company for the first time. After all, she was a girl who stayed in the mountains all year round and didn't see much of the world. She would probably be nervous for a while facing so many strangers all of a sudden. As soon as he arrived at the recording studio, Yang Cheng saw Zhao Tong standing together with a group of staff and musicians. A few sound engineers and musicians were wearing headphones and listening to something. In the recording studio, Hui Lin, who was also wearing big headphones, took off her coat and only wore a thin pink sweater. There were fine beads of sweat on her pure and lovely face. Her eyes were closed, and she seemed to be immersed in some kind of emotion as she sang something. When Zhao Tong saw Yang Chun entering the recording studio, he immediately patted the group of colleagues who were engrossed in listening to the music and introduced, "This is Director Yang. Some of you don't come here often. Come and get to know each other." Yang Chun smiled faintly and shook hands with them. Zhao Tong introduced the background of these people. They were basically producers and musicians who were contracted by the company. They were surprised to know that the young man in front of them was the highest-ranking officer in the company, but they didn't dare to underestimate him. Whether it was through background or ability, age didn't mean anything. Seeing that everyone is so engrossed in her singing, "It seems that my cousin is quite good at singing?" Yang Cheng asked. One of the musicians quickly nodded. "Is she really your cousin, Director? Like brother, like sister." Miss Wei Lin's voice can be ranked in the top 3 among all the singers I've heard in my life. More importantly, there's an ethereal quality in her voice that's rare for girls nowadays. This is definitely related to her temperament. That's right. Her voice is outstanding. As long as she goes through some polishing and polishing some of her falsetto and high notes, she can adapt to many songs, another musician said. Yang Cheng was slightly surprised. He looked at Hui Lin, who was still seriously singing in the recording studio. He took a headphone and put on. A lyrical old song came from the headphone. Because Yang Cheng didn't know much about Huaxia's domestic music and movies, he couldn't tell who the singer was. However, when it was sung by Hui Lin with her refreshing voice, it was indeed pleasant. Yang Cheng took off the headphone and said to everyone, "I think she's quite tired and she's sweating. Let her rest for a while. It's not good for her voice if she keeps singing like this." "Haha, Director, it's not that we don't want Miss Wei Lin to stop, but Miss Wei Lin is so engrossed in her singing that we can't bear to interrupt her," a few of the producers joked. At this moment, a receptionist walked in and asked in a crisp voice, "Is Director Yang here?" Yang Cheng turned around and asked, "What's wrong?" The young receptionist said respectfully, "Director, there's someone waiting for you in the company's reception room. He said that he knows you and wants you to meet Miss Wei Lin." Yang Qing's expression changed slightly. He asked the receptionist to go back first and walked into the recording studio to stand beside Hui Lin. When Hui Lin saw Yang Qing walking in, she immediately stopped singing. Her cheeks were rosy, and she felt embarrassed singing in front of Yang Qing. She asked, "Brother Yang, why are you here?" "Someone wants to see me and you too," Yang Qing said with a smile. Hui Lin blinked her eyes. There weren't many people who knew her. "Who is it? Is it my sister?" Yang Qing shrugged and said, "If I'm not wrong, it's either your grandmother or your grandfather." Chapter 304. He led Hui Lin to the reception area on the first floor of the company. In order to receive different customers, other than the front desk, there were various reception rooms of different sizes on the first floor. They were separated by fashionable soundproofing walls, which made the rooms look simple and beautiful. After walking into the room mentioned by the staff at the front desk, Yang Qing saw the person whom he had guessed. Lin Jigua was wearing a slightly heavy black coat, holding a cup of hot tea that was served by a staff member. On his relatively young face, not many traces of age could be seen. He sat quietly in his seat. Even if he did not say a word, he still had a dignified aura without being angry. Gray Robe was still the same as before, standing quietly in the corner with his head lowered, as if he was dozing off. When he saw Yang Qing and Hui Lin walk in, Lin Jigua's unsmiling face revealed a gentle smile. Of course, it was only directed at Hui Lin. "Hui come to Grandpa's side." Lin Jigua waved to Hui Lin. When Hui Lin saw Lin Jigua, a hint of joy appeared on her face, but then she looked conflicted. After hesitating for a while, she sat beside Lin Jigua obediently. Yang Qing pulled a chair for himself and sat down. Crossing his legs, he yawned and didn't say a word. Lin Jigua didn't care about Yang Qing. He held his granddaughter's hand and asked with a smile, "Have you gotten used to Zhonghai? Is there anything you need? Grandpa will buy it for you. I heard that you're learning to sing and dance here. Do you want to be a singer?" Hui Lin said softly, "Grandpa, I might not be able to become a singer. I just want to find a job that I like." "Hee hee, my Hui is so smart, you'll definitely succeed." "All right, since you're working here, why don't Grandpa buy you a car?" Lin Jigua suggested. Hui Lin hurriedly shook her head. "No, it's okay. Grandpa, I don't know how to drive, and my sister said she would send me pick me up." Lin Jigua's face lit up. "Hui you said you called Ruashi big sister? You don't hate her?" Yang Qing also looked at Hui Lin. He was curious as to how Hui Lin viewed Lin Ruashi. She had grown up by Abbess Yun Miao's side, so she should hate Lin Ruashi. After all, she was the granddaughter of a third party. "Why should I hate her?" Hui Lin said softly. "Sister is also very pitiful. Sister didn't do anything wrong. Even if Grandma hated her, she should only hate her sister's grandmother. That was a matter between Grandpa and Grandma. I just feel that the same blood flows in my body as my sister. As long as my sister treats me well, I should like her." Lin Jigua's eyes were a little red. Even an old man who had been through hundreds of battles and held a high position couldn't help but feel emotional when he heard his granddaughter's words. "Ruashi, does she know who you are?" Lin Jigua asked. Hui Lin shook her head. "I don't dare to say, Grandpa. I'm afraid that my sister will hate me. I'm sorry, Hui Because of Grandpa's mistake, both of you have to grow up so hard." Lin Jigua sighed bitterly. Hui Lin kept quiet, as if she didn't know how to answer. After all, she had grown up with Abbess Yun Miao. She must have held a grudge against Lin Jigua. After all, it was Lin Jigua who had wronged Abbess Yun Miao and caused her parents to lose their lives overseas. Gray Robe, who had been standing in the corner, suddenly said, "Master, since Miss Hui is able to stay with Miss Ruashi, there will be a day when that ill-fated relationship can be resolved. I believe that in the near future, Master will be able to hear Miss Ruashi calling you Grandpa." Lin Jigua's eyes lit up with hope, but he suppressed it soon after. He turned to Hui Lin and said, "Hui you're very pure, kind, and reasonable. This makes me very happy. However, your sister is more stubborn and tenacious than you. She can even do things by hook or by crook. However, there's one thing that's similar to you. She's a kind person, but because of the pain that Grandpa brought to her, she had no choice but to endure the pressure of the outside world and grow up stubbornly. So, if one day she discovers your true identity and gets angry at you, don't argue with your sister. Because the one she hates isn't you, but me, your grandpa. Huilin nodded slowly and bit her lips, not saying a word. Emotions flashed across Yang Cheng's eyes. Although Lin Jigua didn't watch Lin Ruoshi grow up and had only seen her a few times since she was young, he understood this granddaughter of his very well. It was true that family members understood each other the best. After chatting with Hui Lin for a while more, Lin Jigua then said to Yang Cheng, who had been ignored for a long time, "Recently, you seem to have some troubles." Yang Cheng knew that Lin Jigua was definitely talking about the matter of killing Zhang Xinlin and Su Jihong. He sneered and said, "That's not trouble, it's just a small worry. If you insist on saying that it's trouble, then I feel that going to Beijing and killing everyone in the Zhang family is quite troublesome." "Oomph." Lin Jigua snorted coldly. "You should be very clear that that's not realistic. Although you have the capability to do so, there are millions of people in this world who hate you. Can you kill all of them? You're not an emotionless machine. The fact that you're willing to return to Huaxia and live a normal life means that you're still a person with feelings. Anyone who has killed knows that killing others will cause them pain, and so will the people around them. You won't do something so foolish." When Hui Lin heard the conversation between Lin Jigua and Yang Cheng, her watery eyes widened. She didn't understand what was going on and obediently didn't interrupt. Yang Cheng stretched out his finger and scratched his cheek. "What else can I do? They're all thinking of killing your granddaughter. Although I can protect her, what about the people I care about? I don't have 3 heads and 6 arms. I have no other choice but to eliminate them at the most crucial moment. Don't worry, what you're worried about won't happen." Lin Jigua revealed a profound smile. Yang Cheng frowned. "What do you mean? At the very least, before Huaxia's general election ends next year, the Zheng family won't dare to act rashly. Unless they don't want to have a foothold in Huaxia's politics anymore," Lin Jigua said confidently. Yang Cheng thought for a moment. "Could it be that you pressured them? Although our Lin family has some influence, we never interfere with aristocratic families or politics. Anyway, someone with enough influence helped you out. Moreover, that person is much more useful than me," Lin Jigua said. Looking at Lin Jigua's secretive expression, many possibilities flashed through Yang Cheng's mind. In the end, there was only one plausible reason. However, as soon as he thought of that reason, Yang Cheng felt a strong sense of irritation. "I don't like people who meddle in other people's business." Yang Cheng's breathing became uneven. "I can solve everything myself." "Yang Cheng." Lin Jigua suddenly raised his voice and said with a serious expression, "I always thought that you're a man who's more mature than your age. Now, it seems that's not the case. In this world, not everything can be solved by killing. That's the lowest method. You know this better than anyone else. Also, in this world, there are some things that you can't deny even if you don't want to admit it. If it's yours, it's yours. Even if you want to escape, you can't." Yang Cheng squinted his eyes, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. "If you only want to talk to me about this nonsense, I'm not interested in listening." Lin Jigua let out a long breath and drank a mouthful of tea before saying, "All right, then I'll tell you something else. Hurry up, I'm getting off work soon." Yang Cheng was a little impatient. "You should also know that during this period of time, our Dragon Team and Water Dragon Team have both lost a lot of manpower. So, starting from the end of this month, we'll be recruiting a batch of elites from all over Huaxia to be the reserves of our Yellow Flame Iron Brigade. They'll be undergoing rigorous assessment and training. I hope that you can be the chief instructor in the training base in Zhonghai and give them practical guidance," Lin Jigua said. Yang Cheng raised his eyebrows and couldn't help but laugh. "Aren't you looking for trouble for me? If I become the chief instructor, wouldn't it be obvious that I've become a family with you guys? This won't do me any good. First of all, you're only the chief instructor in name. You can totally let someone else take charge of the daily teaching. Don't think that I don't know that the team you brought into the country the last time was the Sea Eagles mercenary group that stirred up trouble in the Mediterranean Sea and the Persian Gulf. In our training, We lack the tactical concepts of this international top mercenary group. Secondly, I can promise you that I'll provide you with the latest assistance in the future to protect those you care about. At the very least, you won't be caught off guard by opponents like the Zhang family. After Lin Jigua finished speaking, he sipped his tea and waited patiently for Yang Cheng's reply. Yang Cheng was silent. Lin Jigua's conditions were indeed attractive, especially the fact that he was willing to provide protection. This was what gave him a headache. After all, he couldn't send a large number of mercenaries to Huaxia to protect the people around him. Even if those people were willing, it would be selfish of him to delay their normal work. That was why he only asked Sauron to send a small team of sea eagles over. Then, he thought that he would be divorcing Lin Ruashi in half a year. At that time, without this level of kinship, it would be better for him to be friendly to Lin Jigua. Thinking of this, Yang Qing nodded. No problem. However, this matter must be kept secret. As much as possible, don't let the outside world know that I'm involved. Lin Jigua's face revealed a smile of understanding. Don't worry, I understand the importance of this. When you're needed, we'll contact you again. After the discussion, Lin Jigua didn't stay any longer. After telling Hui Lin to take care of herself, he left the company quietly with gray robe. Not long after, Hui Lin received a call from Lin Ruashi. She asked Hui Lin to go downstairs and go home together. Hui Lin seemed to be in high spirits. It seemed like she had a lot of things to say to Lin Ruashi in the car. As for Lin Jigua, she obviously wouldn't mention a word about it. Yang Chung looked at the time. It was almost time, so he went downstairs and drove home. In the car, Yang Chen's mind kept recalling the person who pressured the Zhang family to help him. Although he wasn't sure who it was, the vague possibility made the string that had been buried in Yang Chen's heart for too many years gently tremble. With a heavy heart, Yang Chung returned home. Lin Ruashi and Hui Lin had just arrived. When they got out of Lin Ruashi's Bentley, the two women were chatting happily. However, when they saw Yang Chung following them home, they didn't greet him. Yang Chung smiled bitterly. It was one thing for Lin Ruashi, but Hui Lin was the same. It was obvious that she had learned from her sister. She didn't learn the good stuff, but she learned the cold and indifferent kung fu pretty quickly. When Yang Chung entered the house, he said to Lin Ruashi, who was ignoring him, "Ruashi, can we talk? I have something to discuss with you." Chapter 305. Lin Ruashi, who was about to go upstairs to work as usual, turned around hesitantly. Seeing that Yang Chung didn't seem to be joking, she indifferently nodded and said, "Let's talk in my study." After that, Lin Ruashi walked up the stairs on her own. Yang Chung didn't care and followed her upstairs to Lin Ruashi's study. The room was still the same as before, filled with the unique fragrance of Lin Ruashi, which made Yang Chung greedily take 2 deep breaths. Lin Ruashi didn't notice Yang Cheng's small action, feeling a little depressed. She walked to the French window and looked at the villa's quiet night through the gauze curtains. She seemed to be lost in thought, as if she was waiting for Yang Chung to say something. Yang Chen wasn't in a hurry to speak. Instead, he looked at the dazzling collection of books around him, as well as the stacks of heavy documents on the office table. With nostalgia, he said, "I remember the time when I went to buy books with you. The way you bought books was even more ferocious than other women buying clothes. At that time, I thought that such a woman should be a nerdy PhD student or university mentor. How could she be the CEO of a multinational company? Now I seem to understand a little. Some things, when it falls on your head, even if you don't want to do it, you can unknowingly make some achievements. Some things are born, and some things, no matter how much you make up for it, will be incomplete." Lin Ruashi's eyes revealed a pondering look. From the dark window glass in front of her, she could see the man's reflection behind her. He stood there with a smile, as if he was telling a story. Yang Chung was silent for a moment, and then asked, "Have you finished reading the books I bought last time?" "I have," Lin Ruashi said indifferently. Yang Chung nodded and sighed. "Those books, teaching women how to deal with the relationship between husband and wife. Have you also read them?" "I did, but I forgot," Lin Ruashi said. He probably realized that it's useless. How can normal logic be applied to a relationship like ours? Yang Chung said self-deprecatingly, An unexpected beginning, a marriage that has walked into a dead end from the beginning. No matter how much you struggle, you will only sink deeper into the quicksand. The more you struggle, the faster you will sink. Lin Ruashi's shoulders shrugged, and she bit her lips. Is that all you want to say? Yang Cheng shook his head. I was just expressing some boring emotions. What I want to say is a serious matter. You tried to accept me, worked hard to make our marriage work, let me go on business trips, took me to high society banquets, and now let me be the director of a new company. Although there have been many small troubles, I know you did it for my sake. I want to thank you. So you also know how to say thank you. Lin Ruashi sneered. I can say it, but not often, Yang Cheng said. So now you want to thank me and repay me? Lin Ruashi asked. Yang Cheng looked at the back of the woman who had not turned around. Although I want to, I found that there is nothing I can do for you except to keep you from getting hurt. So, I don't think I should affect the development of your company. Now, I am the director of Ulay Entertainment, and I have just started some projects, and I am responsible for some core work. I am thinking, if I divorce you in 6 months, should I leave the company or continue to sit in that position? I should listen to your opinion. If you think it doesn't matter, then I will sit in that position. Although I can't guarantee to make a lot of money, I will let the company develop normally. If you don't want to see me at that time, then I will leave and hand over the work. This is what I want to discuss with you. Lin Ruashi turned around abruptly. Unbeknownst to her, 2 streams of tears had already flowed down her cold, jade-like face. Since you know that I have tried my best, and I don't look down on you like before, is your way of repaying me and thanking me by divorcing me? Yang Cheng didn't expect Lin Ruashi to cry after saying this. He felt a faint bitterness in his heart, but he didn't know how to answer. After taking a deep breath, Yang Cheng said, that day, when Zheng Xinlin and Su Jihong came to my door, you already saw what kind of person I am. Although, Su Jihong said that you were the main culprit. But to tell you the truth, the reason why the Su family completely went on the road of no return was because I used some tricks to uproot their alliance with Dongxing, so that Su Jihong had no one to rely on. Also, the previous time, when you and Mother Wang were kidnapped, it was also because I was by your side. It hasn't even been a year since I came back to the country, and I have only been by your side for half a year. But because of me, you have already faced death more than once. I don't want there to be a next time, because I got close to you and made you suffer that kind of fate. I'm afraid that one day, I won't be able to save you in time. Do you think that I don't have any enemies when you're not here? Lin Ruashi asked in disdain. At least, your enemies are people you can deal with, but the people I brought here can take your life. Yang Cheng said. Endless resentment surged in Lin Ruashi's beautiful eyes, and in the end, she was so angry that she laughed. Yang Cheng, do you know that the words you're saying now, the things you're thinking about, are really very childish? Yang Cheng quietly looked at the woman who suddenly raised her voice and didn't say a word. You're simply afraid, you're running away, and you're not willing to take responsibility. You're using a reason that isn't even a reason to divorce me. Lin Ruashi said coldly, if you tell me, Lin Ruashi, that I don't like you, that I don't have any interest in you, you don't need to ask for a divorce. I will take the initiative to leave you, and I won't think that you're wrong. But now, everything you're doing is telling me that you don't want a divorce at all. Why must you use this kind of lousy reason to avoid me? Is everything I've given so cheap? Yang Cheng closed his eyes in pain. It's not what you think. Lin Ruashi's eyes slightly reddened, and she coldly asked, then what is it? Do you dare to tell me that after you divorce me, you will also give up on the other women around you? Don't think that I'm blind. I don't know how many other women you have outside, but I think it's definitely not just Chinny. I'm not a fool. I didn't say it because I once said to myself that I wouldn't interfere in each other's private life. I know that I'm not good to you, and I don't have the right to say that you have an affair. But now, you want to tell me that you left me because you're afraid that I'll be hurt if I'm with you. Don't tell me that you'll also leave all other women. In the end, Lin Ruashi almost shouted the last sentence. Her surging emotions made her chest heave up and down, and her beautiful face was full of resentment and unwillingness. Yang Cheng raised his head and met Lin Ruashi's gaze. He didn't have the slightest intention of retreating. I won't leave them, but I will leave you, because you're different from them. Yang Cheng said. Different? Lin Ruoshi sneered. Because you like them but hate me. Is that what you want to say? Yang Cheng's two hands tightly clenched into fists and then slowly loosened. He smiled bitterly, because if they are hurt, I will cry. I will feel heartache. I will be angry. But if you are hurt, I will not have those emotions. I think I will directly go crazy. The last drop of Lin Ruoshi's tears fell onto the carpet. The expression on her face froze at this moment as she looked at Yang Cheng in a daze. I've already lost you once. I can't lose you a second time. Even if it's possible, I won't allow it. With that, Yang Cheng silently turned around and walked out of the study with heavy steps. Lose again? Why again? Lin Ruoshi stood in front of the window in a daze. Watching the door slowly close, she didn't know what to do. Chapter 306. Downstairs, Yang Cheng calmed himself down. His face didn't show anything special. Hui Lin, who came back with Lin Ruoshi, was sitting on the sofa watching TV. There was a music gala on the TV. Yang Cheng didn't know any of the people in the show, but Hui Lin was really interested in music and dance. It seems that the future queen of singers will be born in our family, Yang Cheng said with a smile. Hui Lin blushed. Our family? Yang Chen looked at Hui Lin's embarrassed face and found it rather interesting. We've lived together after all. You won't forget about me, as your cousin, once you become a singer in the future, right? Why would I? Hui Lin was a little embarrassed. Yang Chen looked around and saw Mother Wang still busy in the kitchen. It seemed that she had come home early today, and Mother Wang was in a hurry to cook. Yang Cheng sighed in his heart. In the future, there might only be Mother Wang and Lin Ruoshi in this family. While thinking about these things, Yang Cheng walked into the kitchen and came to Mother Wang's side. Mother Wang, do you need my help? Mother Wang smiled and said, Young master, go and watch TV with Miss Hui Lin. I can do it. Dinner will be ready in half an hour. Let me help you. There aren't many opportunities, Yang Cheng said and walked to the chopping board. He picked up the peeled potatoes and the kitchen knife. He asked Mother Wang, is it shredded potatoes? Mother Wang saw that Yang Cheng was really going to start, so she didn't stop him. She nodded and said, it's fine. We're family. There's no need to be so particular. Yang Cheng nodded. He raised the knife and made precise arcs on the round potatoes. The potatoes were cut at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, the whole potato became a pile of shredded potatoes, which are the perfect size for stir-frying. Mother Wang's eyes lit up. She praised. No wonder Miss said that you know martial arts. Your knife skills are so good. You look like the chefs on TV. I only know these little tricks, Yang Cheng said casually. These were indeed little tricks. If it weren't for fear of scaring Mother Wang, he could cut them at an unimaginable speed. While talking to Mother Wang, Yang Cheng continued to cut the other ingredients. All the vegetables and meat were especially obedient under Yang Cheng's knife. Mother Wang was meticulously marinating a small basin of chicken wings, which were probably going to be fried in the oil later. Yang Cheng looked at Mother Wang's meticulous cooking. He felt warm in his heart. He had been in this family for almost half a year. He didn't know how much food Mother Wang made. If he suddenly left in a few months, would he be very unused to it? Mother Wang, the food you cook is really delicious, Yang Cheng said. Mother Wang smiled happily. Although there were a few crow's feet at the corner of her eyes, she looked more loving. People who cook love to hear this. Yang Cheng nodded in understanding and murmured in a low voice, Mother Wang, if one day I'm not in this family, I hope you won't be too sad. Mother Wang was stunned. She stopped what she was doing. Son-in-law, why do you say that all of a sudden? I'm just thinking if one day I'm not in this family and go to a place where no one can find me, what will this family be like? It should be the same as the years when I wasn't around, Yang Chun said. Son-in-law, what's there to think about? Mother Wang said mockingly. Yang Cheng smiled. Mother Wang, if that day really comes, you have to discipline that silly woman who only knows how to work. Tell her not to stay up late and not to skip dinner just because she's busy. Also, if she's not feeling well, go to the hospital immediately for a checkup. Don't go to the hospital to recuperate like last time when she fainted from exhaustion. People can't handle such torment. All right, if she throws a little tantrum and is unhappy, you can go to a glutinous rice ball shop on the street of Winnie Road in Zhonghai to buy some glutinous rice balls. As long as you stuff it into Ruashi's hands, she basically can't care about anything else. She doesn't like to drink medicine. You can buy it for her too. That woman doesn't say it, but she's actually afraid of getting fat, so she doesn't dare to buy it herself. Mother Wong, go ahead and buy it for her. With her workload, it's hard for her to get fat, even if she wants to. Also, if she doesn't come home at night, Mother Wong, bring a warm lunchbox to the office. She told you that she'll eat out, but she's actually lying to you. If she doesn't want to eat, Mother Wong, force a few drops of tears and complain. That way, she'll definitely eat it. Ruashi is actually very soft-hearted. She can't bear to see others sad. Mother Wong's hands froze. She opened her mouth slightly and looked at Yang Chung, speechless. Yang Chung realized that he had said a bunch of strange things and smiled awkwardly. Mother Wong, I'm just casually chatting with you. Don't take it too seriously. Oh, thank goodness. Only then did Wong Ma calm down. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Son-in-law, what are you saying? My heart is like the filling of dumplings being chopped into pieces. Why is it like that Qiang Yao drama? Even an old person like me is about to burst into tears. Son-in-law, I can only say this casually. If you're not around, the two of us women will have a hard time. How can that be? Without me, Ruashi's money can build the Great Wall of China. It'll be easy no matter what, Yang Chung said. Mother Wong sighed. Money isn't something you can bring with you when you're born, and you can't take it with you when you're dead. It's fine as long as you have enough to use. Too much is a burden and also a responsibility. People might not be unhappy when they're poor, and the rich might not be happy when they're poor. After all, it's better for the family to be safe and sound together. After saying that, Mother Wong continued to pour oil into the pot and started cooking. Yangqing finished cutting the last green pepper in his hand and tidied up the vegetables before walking out of the kitchen quietly. Hui Lin, who was sitting on the sofa, saw Yangqing walk out. She quickly turned her head and pretended to be watching TV. Yangqing snickered in his heart. Hui Lin was taught by Abbess Yin Miao, after all. She had some achievements in internal energy cultivation. She must have heard what he said in the kitchen. Yangqing didn't expose her. He sat on the other sofa, picked up a newspaper, and started reading it leisurely. Seeing that Yangqing was silent, Hui Lin couldn't help but ask, Brother Yang, are you really going to divorce my sister? Didn't you hear it too? Yangqing said. Hui Lin pouted. I think you don't actually want a divorce, right? Yangqing put down the newspaper and stared at Hui Lin for a while. He said seriously, Hui Lin, can you promise me one thing? Hui Lin nodded. Brother Yang, what is it? When I leave this house one day, can you live with your sister? At the very least, don't leave her like I did. Accompany her often, Yangqing said seriously. Hui Lin was confused. She didn't know what Yangqing meant. Your sister, although she seems to be doing well, she doesn't even know that she's actually very pitiful. There are many things that are crueler than what she's seen. Sadness flashed through Yangqing's eyes. He continued, I can tell that she's actually suspicious of your identity. You have to know that you're blood-related sisters. There are many similarities between the two of you. However, she didn't ask you about it. Instead, she treats you sincerely. This shows that she likes you as her sister. So, I hope that you can accompany her more. You know martial arts, and your temperament suits her. I think you're the most suitable candidate. Hui Lin lowered her eyes. She felt a little sour in her heart. Brother Yang, I used to think that you weren't a good person. So I was a little afraid of you. But now, I feel that you're actually a good person. If you leave my sister, I'll feel sad about it. Silly girl, life will still go on without me. The earth will still rotate without anyone. Even if I leave, your sister can still live well. Yangqing said with a smile. Hui Lin nodded. I understand. I'll keep this promise. After watching TV for a while, Mother Wong finished cooking. Yangqing and Hui Lin helped carry out the dishes. After that, Mother Wong ran up to the second floor and called Lin Ruashi down for dinner. After a while, Mother Wong came down helplessly. I don't know what Miss is busy with again. She asked me to send some food up. She's really worrisome. Yang Chung said casually, "It's okay. Mother Wong, please send some food up." Okay. Mother Wong was already used to it. She quickly prepared some food and sent it to Lin Ruashi. After dinner, Yang Chung put on a coat and took his car keys. He said to Mother Wong and Hui Lin, "I'm going to meet someone. Don't wait for me. I might be back late." After that, Yang Chung went out and drove straight into the night. Chapter 307. It had been a while since he went to Jinxiu's stall to see this girl. Whenever he thought of that night, when Jinxiu took out her beloved crescent moon pendant and gave it to him, Yang Chung would be filled with pity for this girl. When he arrived at the dark little street, the number of stalls on the road seemed to have slightly increased. After all, the weather was cold, and eating supper, especially malatang, would sell especially well. Yang Chung walked to the corner of the street and saw Jinxiu, who was wearing a slightly old brown coat and a white and purple knitted hat, busying herself beside her cart. In front of her cart, there were 4 or 5 customers sitting there drinking white wine, eating fried rice cakes and malatang. Yang Chung was not in a hurry to go over. After waiting for a while, the customers all left. Only then did Yang Chung leisurely walk to the front of the stall. Jinxiu was wiping the table at the front desk. She raised her head and saw that the person who came was Yang Chung. Her charming face revealed a trace of joy. "Big brother Yang, it's so late. How come you have the time to come? Isn't it because I can see our increasingly beautiful little sister Jinxiu at night?" Yang Chung lazily sat on the chair in front of the counter and said with a smile. Jinxiu's white and tender cheeks blushed, taking advantage of Sister Ruashi's absence. "Big brother Yang came to bully me? How could that be? I was still hoping to get something to eat. I can't offend the host," Yang Chung said as he picked up a skewer of meatballs and took a bite. It was scalding hot and very springy. Jinxiu's small face became serious as she humphed and said, "A skewer of meatballs costs $2. Don't even think about reneging on the bill." Yang Chung suddenly coughed and said with a bitter smile, "So it turns out that we still have to pay the bill when we are close. Don't you know that I am a money grubber?" Jinxiu pouted and said, "I'm just taking advantage of the cold weather to earn more money so that I can pay the rent and utilities. How can I have spare money to treat people?" Yang Chung picked up another string of kelp knots and said as he ate, "What if the weather is hot? We can't possibly sell hot and spicy soup, right?" Jinxiu smiled indifferently. "If it's hot, then we'll think of a way to sell cold drinks and popsicles." Jinxiu, swallowing the food in his mouth, Yang Chung earnestly said, "You're still young. You're only 18 years old. Kids of your age are still in high school or have just entered university. You're a smart kid. Why don't you try to study hard and get into college? If you are willing, Big brother Yang can lend you a sum of money so that you can study hard and take the college entrance examination next year. When you become successful in the future, you can return it to me." Jinxiu quietly listened as she used the spatula to stir-fry the Korean fried rice cake on the iron plate and did not reply. Yang Chung frowned. "Don't tell me that you're afraid of studying since you're so hardworking. If you feel that studying is difficult, then I can be your tutor. Science and foreign languages are no problem. You can just look at Mandarin yourself. Even if your foundation is only at the elementary level, as long as you're willing to work hard, half a year is enough." Jinxiu finally stopped what she was doing and raised her head. Her pretty face, which appeared tired in the cold wind, revealed a bitter smile. "Big brother Yang, thank you. But that would be too troublesome for you. I'm not cut out for studying. It's better for me to do my small business." Jinxiu brushed the hair on her temples. "In any case, many girls around my age are living like this. We support ourselves. Although it's tiring, it's quite relaxing." Yang Chung sternly said, "I don't care about others. I only believe that since you and I met on the bus that day, and I'm sitting in front of you today, I can't ignore you. Your youth is precious. When you're old and can't walk anymore, your mind won't be clear. Are you going to push a cart and sell fried rice cakes by yourself?" Jinxiu's face turned pale. She bit her lower lip and did not speak. At this moment, a familiar female voice came from the side. Jinxiu, listen to him. He's right. You can't keep walking like this. Yang Cheng and Jinxiu turned their heads together and saw a tall and graceful young woman wearing a brown leather trench coat. They didn't know when she walked to the stall. Her short hair was a little messy in the night wind. Her delicate oval face revealed a bit of coldness. It was Choi Yun. Sister Kai, you're here. Jinxiu shyly smiled. She didn't seem surprised by Choi Yun's arrival. Choi Yun's watery eyes glanced at Yang Cheng. There was a bit of complicated emotions in her eyes. Then she gently smiled at Jinxiu and said, Yes, I heard you talking to this person. Although he usually talks nonsense without any rhyme or reason, his suggestion to let you study for the college entrance exam was right. If you're willing, I can help you contact the high school class. I remember you're in middle school. Actually, your foundation is pretty good. You're also smart. As long as you're willing to work hard, you can at least get into a second-tier university. Yang Cheng was slightly surprised as he looked at Choi Yun. It seems like you're very familiar with Jinxiu. What? Only you and Jinxiu are brother and sister, but I'm not allowed to treat Jinxiu as my sister. Choi Yun said with dissatisfaction. Yang Cheng smiled and waved his hand. No, I'm just a bit surprised. You're so busy with work, but you still have time to come here and chat with Jinxiu? Jinxiu said, Big brother Yang, Sister Kai is very good to me. Last time you asked her to take care of me, she would come here 2 or 3 times a week and ask me if anyone bullied me. She often told me stories about her catching bad guys. It's very interesting. Yang Cheng sighed and said, Fortunately, Miss Choi Yun is a woman. If she was a man, I'm afraid all the good girls would have been hooked by you. It hasn't been long, but Jinxiu praises you as if you're her own sister. Do you think that aside from work, I'm only thinking about solving cases and catching people all day long, and I don't know anything else? Choi Yun gritted her teeth. In fact, Yang Cheng did think so in the past. After all, he had met Choi Yun several times, and they were always at loggerheads. This woman even came knocking on his door to give him pressure. However, thinking that Choi Yun actually often came to take care of Jinxiu because of his words, and even became intimate with Jinxiu, it would be a lie to say that he wasn't surprised. Of course, Yang Cheng didn't think that Choi Yun was just putting on a show, nor did he think that Choi Yun had so much free time. The only reason should be that he had once asked her to take care of Jinxiu. Thinking up to here, Yang Cheng sincerely said, Thank you. I used to have some prejudice against you, but now it seems that you're actually a good person. It seems that it's reasonable for Ruashi to treat you as a good friend. Brother Yang, why would you think that? Sister Kai is a good person to begin with, Jinxiu said unhappily. When Choi Yun suddenly heard Yang Cheng say that she was good, her face slightly reddened, but she quickly restrained it. It's good that you know you're wrong. This lady is magnanimous and won't fuss over every little thing with you. Yang Cheng smiled and turned to Jinxiu and said, Since your sister Kai already asked you to retake the exam, you should listen to Brother Yang, my good sister. Jinxiu hesitated for a moment and said, Brother Yang, can you let me think about it carefully? Can I give you an answer in 2 days? Of course you can. Yang Cheng said with a smile. There's one more thing. Do you still remember what you promised in front of your sister, Ruashi, last time? Jinxiu replied obediently. I remember. It's about going back to the orphanage. Brother Yang said he would bring me back. How about the day after tomorrow? It's Christmas the day after tomorrow. You can go back and buy a bunch of small gifts for the director and the children there. If you don't have money, I'll pay for it first and you can pay me back later. Otherwise, I know you won't accept it. Yang Cheng said. Jinxiu pouted. Then I must be the one to choose the gift. Of course you choose. I'll drive here to pick you up at 9 in the morning the day after tomorrow. Then we'll go buy the gift and go to the orphanage. Yang Cheng said. Jinxiu nodded excitedly. Thank you, Brother Yang. After listening, Choi Yun suddenly asked, Just you and Jinxiu are going? Ruashi isn't going? Choi Yun had also heard from Jinxiu that Yang Cheng and Lin Ruashi had come to see her, so she wasn't surprised. Oh, she usually goes there often. I'll just bring Jinxiu. After Yang Cheng said that, he reached out and patted Jinxiu's head, causing Jinxiu to pout coquettishly before he got up. Remember not to sleep in the day after tomorrow, or else I'll spank you. I won't sleep in, Jinxiu said angrily. Seeing that Yang Cheng was about to leave, Choi Yun's eyes flashed with a trace of struggle, and she said, "Wait, I have something to ask of you." Yang Cheng turned around. "What is it?" "The last time I went to your house, I left a white leather bag on your sofa. Can you bring it out tomorrow and return it to me?" Choi Yun asked. Yang Cheng then remembered that when Choi Yun came to his house to talk to Lin Ruoxi about Gao Guoxiong's case, she did indeed leave a bag at home. At that time, Lin Ruoxi looked through it and didn't find anything important, so she left it on the counter at home. Yang Cheng felt that there was no reason to refuse this small request of Choi Yun. After all, Lin Ruoxi was much busier than him, so he nodded and said, "No problem. Call me tomorrow when you have time. I'll bring it out." Choi Yun said, "Thank you," and a trace of joy flashed in her eyes. She smiled and said goodbye to Yang Cheng, and her eyes followed Yang Cheng's back until he disappeared around the corner. Jinxiu saw this, looked at Yang Cheng, and then looked at Choi Yun, who was lost in thought, and faintly sighed. Chapter 308. Early the next morning, Yang Cheng had just woken up when he saw snow fluttering in the air outside the French windows. The falling snowflakes covered the grass, trees, and houses. The world was covered in silver, and it was dazzling. This was the second snowfall in Zhonghai, and it seemed to be an important part of the Christmas season. On the way to work, many shops were lit up with neon lights, and Christmas dolls and decorations were hung. Christmas trees had sprung up like mushrooms after the rain. This was the first time Yang Cheng spent Christmas in Huaxia. He did not expect the atmosphere to be so festive. It was comparable to the atmosphere in Europe and America. He could not help but feel that the world had become a small place. There was a white leather bag beside the car seat. It was the bag that Choi Yun had promised to help her last night. Yang Cheng did not forget about it, and he took it out when he saw it on the coffee table. When he arrived at the car park of Yulei Entertainment, Lin Ruoxi had just arrived with Hui Lin. Hui Lin got out of the car and was saying goodbye to Lin Ruoxi. Lin Ruoxi rolled down the window and waved to Hui Lin. She looked tired, but there was a gentle smile on her face. When she saw Yang Cheng getting out of the car, Lin Ruoxi acted as if she did not see him. She acted like a stranger and casually rolled up the window and drove away. Yang Cheng looked at the car driving away with a faint smile. It seemed that Lin Ruoxi was no longer willing to talk to him because of what he said last night. This attitude of ignoring him was even more distant than her cold words. Huilin noticed this scene and looked a little worried, but she did not know what to say. When he arrived at the office, many employees were wearing scarves and more clothes than usual. It was obvious that the temperature had plummeted after the snow. Even the most gentlemanly employees were starting to feel warm. Yang Cheng suddenly remembered that the last time it snowed, he and Mo Qianyi went hiking in the suburbs, and that was how they had that unforgettable night. Thinking of Mo Qianyi's old legs, Yang Cheng was a little worried. After all, the weather was cold, and her legs might have a relapse. After entering his office, Yang Cheng closed the door and took out his phone to call Mo Qianyi. After a few seconds, Mo Qianyi picked up the phone. Her voice was still full of energy, and there seemed to be a hint of joy. "It's really rare for you to have the time to call a little whore like me," Mo Qianyi said jokingly in self-pity. Yang Cheng asked straightforwardly, "How is your leg? Does it hurt?" Mo Qianyi was silent on the other end of the phone for a while, then said with a smile, "Hearing you ask, even if it hurts, I can only say that it doesn't hurt." Does it hurt or not? Yang Cheng was a little anxious as he listened. The pain Mo Qianyi suffered that night was still fresh in his mind. "It doesn't hurt, don't worry," Mo Qianyi said softly. "I feel much better after you fixed me last time. It's snowing today, so I wore an extra pair of pants. I don't feel the pain anymore." Only then did Yang Cheng calm down. "Tell me if it hurts. Don't hold it in. I can take a look at it, or take you to the hospital." Mo Qianyi nodded. "I suddenly miss you. It's all your fault for calling me so early in the morning. How can I work today? I'm so annoyed. I have so many things to do." "Are you very busy?" "Of course. I'm the head of the finance department now. Don't you know that the company has to do all kinds of settlement at the end of the year? Also, it's almost Chinese New Year. Many employees have gone back to their hometown for the holidays. Those of us in Zhonghai, of course, have to do more. Mo Chinny said sadly. Yang Chung thought for a while. Let's have dinner together tonight. I haven't been with you for a long time, and you're so tired. I need to reward you. Mo Chinny giggled. You know how to dote on me. Not bad, not bad. But I don't want to eat out. Come to my house tonight, okay? I'll cook for you. Can I sleep at your place? Yang Qing asked with a smile. Do you want to die? Mo Chinny said coquettishly. Anyway, it's a deal. I'm going to work. Come to my house tonight. Bye. After that, she immediately hung up the phone. Yang Qing's face was gloomy. She hung up too directly. She didn't even give him a goodbye kiss or something. Just when he was about to turn on his phone to play games, his phone vibrated. Yang Chung looked at it. It was an unfamiliar number. It must be Choi Yun. When he picked it up, it was Choi Yun's voice. Did you take the bag? Choi Yun seemed to be in a good mood and asked lightly. My memory is good. Are you at the police station? I'll give it to you. Do you come out at any time when you go to work? Choi Yun asked. Yang Chung smiled. I'm just a small character. The work is done by others. I think you are too. Choi Yun didn't taunt him like before. She said, forget it now. Let's meet at the intersection north of Zhongnan Street at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. Yang Chung was stunned. He didn't understand why Choi Yun chose a place that wasn't close to the police station and the company, but he didn't care too much and agreed. After playing the game for 2 hours, the snow that had been falling for half a day had finally stopped. Yang Chen drove to the place where he had agreed to meet Kai Yin. Zhongnan Street was a pedestrian street. There were mostly restaurants and snack bars on both sides. Yang Chung walked near the intersection and looked around, trying to find a woman in a police uniform. At this moment, Choi Yun's voice came from behind. What are you looking for? I'm here. Yang Chung turned around and saw Choi Yun behind him. She was wearing a beige tight-fitting sweater, which made the size of her breasts look especially impressive. She had a purple scarf around her, which made her look a little charming. She was wearing a pair of light-colored jeans, which made Choi Yun's slender and fit legs look even more attractive. It had to be said that Choi Yun, who had put on some foundation, attracted the attention of many men and women when she walked on the street. Seeing Yang Chung looking at her in surprise, Choi Yun felt a little proud and happy, but she didn't show it on her face. She pretended not to know and asked, Am I strange? Yang Chung smiled embarrassedly. I didn't recognize you when you're not wearing a police uniform, but it suits you well. We're not arresting a criminal. Do you think I'm addicted to wearing a police uniform? Choi Yun rolled her eyes at Yang Chung. Yang Chung shrugged indifferently and handed the white bag to Choi Yun. This is yours. I brought it for you. Thank you. Choi Yun took the bag. She didn't look at the things in the bag and smiled. What do you want to eat? Yang Chung hesitated for a moment. Lunch. What did you expect? Choi Yun asked impatiently. Yang Chung didn't expect Choi Yun to invite him for lunch. However, he remembered that he promised to be friends with her before, so he didn't have any reason to reject her. Plus, he was hungry. I'm fine with anything. I'm fine with anything, Yang Chung said. Choi Yun wasn't fussy. Let's go to that Shandong restaurant then. I've eaten there before. The taste is pretty good. Yang Chung didn't have any objections. He followed Choi Yun into the nearest Shandong restaurant and found a table for two by the window. After Choi Yun ordered from the waiter, she asked Yang Chung, What do you like to eat? Order more. No need. I think what you ordered is enough. I won't have an appetite for dinner if I eat too much at noon. Yang Chung was still thinking that Mo Chienni was going to cook tonight. It would be embarrassing if he ate too much and didn't perform well at night. Choi Yun didn't think much of it and asked other questions. However, Yang Chung didn't have anything to talk about with Choi Yun. There were many things that Yang Chung didn't think he could tell Choi Yun. Choi Yun also noticed that Yang Chung was guarding against her. She said unhappily, Do you have to be like this? I'm just curious about what you've done in the past. Why are you so good at martial arts? Could it be that you've committed a crime and can't say it out loud? Yang Chung sighed. Choi Yun, you said last time that you wanted us to be friends. If that's what you really think, then I hope you won't ask these questions. I naturally have my reasons for not saying it. Your sister should know something, but since she didn't tell you, You should know that those things can't be said casually. Choi Yun snorted and didn't ask anymore. Not long after, the waiter came with a few dishes. Choi Yun thought of something and hurriedly asked, "What do you want to drink? White wine or wine? There's good sorghum here." Yang Chung directly said, "No need. Give me 2 bowls of rice. It's just to fill my stomach." Choi Yun felt bitter, but there was nothing to say. Seeing that Yang Chung ordered 2 bowls of rice and started to wolf it down, she had no choice but to eat. All the questions and topics that she had prepared were basically left unsaid. In less than 5 minutes, Yang Chung patted his stomach and burped. "I'm done eating. Take your time." Yang Chung didn't leave immediately. After all, it would be impolite. So he took a toothpick and slowly waited for Choi Yun. Kai-yin suddenly stopped eating and swallowed the food in her mouth. She raised her beautiful face and stared at Yang Chung with a cold and sharp gaze. She looked rather gloomy. Chapter 309. Seeing this expression, Yang Chung could naturally tell that Choi Yun's mood wasn't right, but he didn't understand what was going on. He asked curiously, "What's wrong? Is there a problem? Tell me the truth. Do you think that eating a meal with me is a waste of your precious time?" Choi Yun asked indifferently. Yang Chung was stunned. He frowned and said, "Choi Yun, what do you mean? Why did you say that all of a sudden?" "What do I mean?" Choi Yun sneered. "Don't tell me that when you eat with other women, you finish your meal in 3 minutes without saying anything. Then, you bite on a toothpick and let the woman slowly eat by herself?" Yang Chung vaguely understood the reason why Choi Yun was angry. He smiled awkwardly and said, "I'm sorry. I thought you're a police officer, so you talk about efficiency. Also, I don't know what to say to you. Actually, eating for 3 minutes is the speed at which I eat by myself. I didn't think much of it. I didn't think that it would make you unhappy." Choi Yun's face darkened. "Police? In your eyes, other than being a police officer, am I not a woman?" Yang Chung was silent. Choi Yun's question made him feel a little weird. He really didn't treat Choi Yun as a beauty like the other women around him. Although Choi Yun's appearance and figure were 1 in 100 beauties, some bad memories in the past, and Choi Yun's style of doing things and talking made it hard for him to equate this beauty with a beauty. I really didn't think about this," Yang Chung said honestly. Choi Yun said faintly, "Before I left today, I specially dressed up and came here. I specially chose this restaurant. Do you know why?" Yang Chung wasn't an idiot. He thought back to the time when he had given him a Rolex watch, how he had tried his best to take care of Jinxiu, and how he had behaved the last few times they had met. Today, he had specially dressed up for him and even invited him to dinner. Although Yang Chung found it inconceivable, Choi Yun obviously had feelings for him. Yang Chung felt a headache coming on. In the past, if such a beautiful policewoman came knocking on his door, he would definitely not refuse her and would be overjoyed. But now, Yang Chung was a little afraid after encountering such a beautiful woman who was willing to stick to him. He always felt that he owed the few beauties around him. If he was entangled with this beautiful policewoman again, or if he had a few more beauties in the future, Yang Chung felt that he would have a mental breakdown. The guilt he felt towards each woman would make him feel like dying. Seeing that Yang Chung didn't speak, Choi Yun bit her lower lip and said, "You can see that I did this. You must know what I was thinking. Don't try to escape." "Choi Yun, today, I really just came to return your bag." Yang Chung didn't know how to refuse Choi Yun, so he could only indirectly reject Choi Yun's feelings. Choi Yun's charming face first showed a sense of loss. Then, the resentment in her heart turned into resentment. She felt wronged and unwilling, and she wouldn't be happy if she didn't vent it. Choi Yun looked straight at Yang Chung with tears in her eyes. She said with a sarcastic smile, "Yang Chung, do you know? It seems that this is the first time in my life that I met a man I can't resist. In the face of such a man, my family background, status, career, and appearance that even women envy are of no help to me. He can't even be sure if he can give me a complete love. Other women will definitely laugh at how stupid I am. Returning a bag? Just how much is this kind of bag worth? Let me tell you, I've never paid attention to this. If you had even the slightest bit of consideration for my feelings before sitting in front of me, Before you said what you just said, you should at least test yourself. Should you say something so cruel that you hurt a woman who only wants to talk to you, who doesn't have much confidence in herself? I'm not the kind of person who would call you to a place like this just to get back a bag worth 2,000 yuan. Can I really not live if I don't see you? Don't I have a better bag? Don't I have time to get it myself? Don't the situation allow it? Or, I don't even have the money to buy a bag. Answer me. Choi Yun's voice became a little loud in the end, but because the restaurant was on the side of the street, the other guests didn't pay much attention to the noise outside. Yang Chung sat in his seat, his body a little stiff. Choi Yun's words were like nails, piercing into Yang Cheng's heart. Although he didn't have the same feelings for Choi Yun as he did for other women, Yang Cheng knew that regardless of whether he liked her or not, this woman who dared to love and hate had already left an indelible impression on him. Seeing that Yang Chung still didn't answer, Choi Yun's eyes revealed a bit of contempt and said with a smile, "You can't possibly think that I will be moved by a man who even values a bag worth 2,000 yuan more than me. For a whole day, a whole week, a whole month?" Yang Cheng knew that he couldn't run away from anything anymore. Choi Yun's honesty made Yang Cheng feel that he was a little despicable, but if he asked himself, his feelings for Choi Yun were only limited to friendliness, and indeed, it couldn't be said to be love, and even liking her was a bit far-fetched. Moreover, she was Lin Ruoshi's best friend. Even if he wanted to divorce Lin Ruoshi, there was no reason for him to be in a relationship with her best friend for no reason. After sorting out his thoughts, Yang Chung said solemnly, "Choi Yun, I feel a little overwhelmed that you have such feelings for me. But you should know that I'm already married, and Ruoshi is your good sister. We can't. You guys are just a fake marriage, a contract marriage, isn't that right?" Choi Yun said straightforwardly. Yang Cheng's scalp suddenly went numb, followed by his heart beating wildly. He never thought that Choi Yun would already know about the matter between him and Lin Ruoshi. "Do you find it strange? Because you didn't come back at night and had a conflict with Ruoshi, she told me all of this. Actually, even if she didn't say it, I've never believed that you guys got married because you really loved each other. Ruoshi isn't the kind of woman who would suddenly get married. She's calmer than anyone else. It's impossible for her to suddenly marry someone," Choi Yun said. "Now, do you still want to use Ruoshi as an excuse to reject me?" Yang Chung smiled bitterly. "I really didn't expect you to already know about this, but Choi Yun, even if Ruoshi and I are fake married, I still can't accept you. This is unfair to both you and her. If I didn't marry Ruoshi, if our first meeting wasn't in the police station, then maybe there would be a different result. But now, I really can't accept your feelings. I don't want to lie to you, and I don't want to lie to myself." Choi Yun held back her tears, not letting them fall. She turned her head away and said with a sad smile, if, the word if is the word I hate the most in the world. Since it's already happened, it's useless to say it, isn't it? But after I met you, Yang Chung, especially after you saved my life in the building that day, I often think of this word. If I was given the chance to get to know you first, if Yang Chung met me first, if I didn't foolishly treat you as a bad person, if you didn't marry Ruoshi, if I was given another chance, then I definitely wouldn't give up a second to be with you. I think so. But if your marriage is just a transaction, just a piece of paper, then it's not too late for me now, right? If it's possible, can you give me a chance?" After listening to Choi Yun's dreamlike words, Yang Chung suddenly realized that he had really overlooked too many things about this woman. But what was the use of it? Feelings never existed. If it wanted to come, you couldn't stop it. If it didn't come, you couldn't even find its shadow. Yang Chung apologetically said with a smile, "I'm sorry. This isn't a matter of opportunity. We may be good friends, but I've never thought of making you my woman. This doesn't mean that you're worse than the other women around me. It's just that I can't force myself to have that kind of feeling, so I can't promise you anything. If that's the case, then why did you risk everything to save me in the building that day?" Choi Yun asked unwillingly. Yang Cheng shook his head. "I didn't risk everything. I saved you because you're Ruoshi's friend and also a good policeman. Those bullets were not dangerous to me at all. You lied to me. You must hate me. Hate me for being so bad to you in the past, right? Choi Yun's voice trembled a little. I didn't lie to you. I don't hate you. I saved you, but it doesn't mean anything. I've saved a lot of people, and I've killed a lot of people. This is just a normal thing for me. Yangqing couldn't bear it and said, in fact, you can choose a better man. A guy like me who can't be faithful is not worthy of your tears. Choi Yun sneered a few times. No one knew who she was laughing at. It seems that I'm thinking too highly of myself. You can go. After that, Choi Yun picked up the bowl and chopsticks and continued to eat. Yang Chung didn't leave. He frowned and looked at Choi Yun with some worry. Choi Yun wiped her tears, raised her head, and showed a bright smile. Do you think I'm a 16-year-old girl? Just because I was rejected by a man, would I jump off a building or cut my wrist? Go. I hate seeing you now. Yang Qing knew that Choi Yun must hate him very much at this moment, but he couldn't say anything else to persuade her. It was so difficult to refuse a relationship. Yang Qing couldn't imagine that if it was a woman who loved him and he also loved a woman, could he still refuse it? With a heavy heart, Yang Qing got up and left the restaurant. When Yang Qing's figure walked out of the restaurant, Choi Yun put down the bowl and chopsticks. Her whole body leaned on the table, her shoulders were shaking, and she was sobbing. Chapter 310. After leaving the restaurant, Yang Chun didn't directly return to the company. Instead, he aimlessly walked one round along Zhongnan Street. He didn't really think about anything, but he felt that his mood wasn't good. Thus, he slowly dragged his steps, bought 2 boxes of low-quality tobacco, and smoked them all before feeling a little better. Yang Chun didn't think that he had done anything wrong, but he also didn't think that he had done anything right. Not everything in the world was right or wrong. For example, if you betrayed someone, or if you did it for someone else, nobody could tell. After the sky turned dark, Yang Cheng called home to tell his mother Wang that he wouldn't be home for dinner. Then, he drove in the direction of Mo Chinny's home. As if it was planned in advance, when Yang Cheng parked the car downstairs of Mo Chinny's house. Mo Chinny's red Audi just arrived home. Coming out of the car, Mo Chinny, who was dressed like a working girl, didn't look tired at all. She was carrying a light-colored Louis Vuitton bag and wearing stilettos, which made a few holes in the snow. A pair of slender legs were wrapped in mesh lace stockings, which was particularly fashionable and eye-catching. Seeing that Yang Cheng had also just arrived downstairs, Mo Chinny smiled sweetly, which was indescribably bright and moving in the snow. Yang Cheng suddenly had an illusion that the woman in front of him was a real husband and wife. The two of them came home from work together, got off the car in front of the door, and smiled at each other. Countless sweet feelings were self-evident. Seeing Yang Cheng staring at her and giggling, Mo Chinny's pretty face blushed, and she said coquettishly, "What are you looking at? Your eyeballs are about to fall out. Pervert, help me carry the things. What did you buy? Vegetables and meat for dinner. You have such a big appetite. Besides tomatoes and eggs, there is some milk and bread in the refrigerator at home. There is nothing else, so I had to buy everything." Mo Chinny mumbled as she opened the trunk of the car. Sure enough, it was filled with supermarket paper bags. Yang Cheng gave Mo Chinny a strange look. "Did you carry so many things into the car by yourself? What else can we do? Just take it a few more times," Mo Chinny said with a smile. Yang Cheng looked at her reproachfully. "Didn't I tell you to be careful of your body? You're carrying so many things. What if your leg flares up? I'm not by your side. What if you suddenly fall down from the pain?" Mo Chinny pouted and said with a little grievance, "This is the first time I've cooked for you at home. I wanted to show off and let you eat better. I didn't think that much." Yang Cheng looked at the woman in front of him with her head lowered with a complicated gaze. He secretly said, "Idiot." He didn't say anything else and helped Mo Chinny take out all the things. He only used 2 hands to carry everything and said, "Let's go upstairs. I'll carry it." Seeing that Yang Cheng wasn't angry anymore, Mo Chinny smiled and said, "It's better to have a man. I can carry it for a long time by myself." Following behind Mo Chinny, they walked all the way into Mo Chinny's small apartment. This was already the second time he came here, so Yangcheng wasn't too unfamiliar with it. However, he couldn't help but smile when he thought back to the first night he came here and the past that happened with Mo Chinny. Mo Chinny also seemed to remember that night when she secretly kissed Yangcheng and Yangcheng deliberately pretended not to know about the absurd past. She charmingly rolled her eyes at Yangcheng. Don't laugh. If you laugh again, I won't cook for you. You can just put the things in the kitchen and watch TV. You don't need my help? The more you help, the more trouble you will cause. I'm cooking Sichuan cuisine. You don't know anything about it, so don't worry about it. Mo Chinny said. My knife skills are very good. I can help you cut anything you want. Yangcheng said. Mo Chinny thought that Yangcheng's skills were indeed very good. Thinking that his knife skills were also very good, she agreed. As a result, the two of them quickly got busy in the kitchen. Mo Chinny washed the vegetables and cut the vegetables. At the same time, she directed Yangcheng to cut the various fish and vegetables into different shapes and put them on the plate. When Yangcheng finished cutting all the neatly, Mo Chinny was very satisfied and kissed Yangcheng's mouth to express her praise. Then, with a brisk rhythm, she began to stew and stir-fry the dishes. Yangcheng didn't watch TV. He stood at the door of the kitchen and watched in a slight daze. Mo Chinny took off her coat, only wearing a sweater and a pink apron. She walked back and forth, busy cooking. This kind of scene, Yangcheng had dreamed before, but the woman in that dream couldn't be clearly seen. After tonight, if he had that dream again, Yangcheng felt that he would definitely dream of the woman in front of him. After about an hour, Mo Chinny made 5 stir-fried dishes, a pot of soup, and a plate of hot and sour fish. Yangcheng helped to bring all the dishes to the small western dining table outside. Mo Chinny took out a half-finished bottle of 10-year-old red wine out of nowhere and said a little embarrassedly, "There's only half a bottle of wine at home. I drink it before I go to bed at night to help me sleep. Just make do with it and drink a little." Yangcheng smiled indifferently and said, "I don't really like drinking. Why don't you keep it for yourself at night?" "No, I have to drink a little to make this meal complete," Mo Chinny said stubbornly. She took 2 small wine glasses and filled them up for Yangcheng and herself. Yangcheng took the wine glass and lightly clinked it with Mo Chinny, who still had some sweat on her face. "My dear little Chanchian, if you want it to be complete, I suggest you turn off the lights and light up the candles." Mo Chinny opened her watery eyes wide and said, with a face full of annoyance, "Why didn't you say so earlier? I don't have candles at home. If you had reminded me, I could have bought them from the supermarket. I would have bought rose-scented ones. I really like that smell." Yangcheng grinned and said with a depressed face, "I was just saying it casually. Do you really want a candlelight dinner?" "Of course. Don't you know that romance is a woman's right?" Mo Chinny said proudly. Looking at the woman's innocent expression, Yangcheng couldn't help but smile and shake his head. His heavy mood from the afternoon suddenly turned for the better. The two chatted happily as they ate. Mo Chinny's cooking was pretty good, and Yangcheng had a good time eating. On the other hand, Mo Chinny hadn't eaten such spicy food for a long time. She kept wiping her sweat with a napkin, and her white face was flushed red. After picking up a piece of stir-fried chicken for Yangcheng, Mo Chinny suddenly said, "The company's shift will start in a week or so. You're going to Japan, and I'm going to Hainan with a team. We won't be able to see each other for a while." "You're going to Hainan?" This was the first time Yangcheng heard Mo Chinny mention it. "That's right. The Ministry of Finance is going to Hainan. They said it's warm there and not as hot as summer. I think it's not bad." Mo Chinny asked in confusion, "How come you didn't know? I thought you already knew I was going to Hainan. Ruashi is going with us this year. You live with her. Didn't you hear?" Yangcheng was even more stunned. Lin Ruashi is going too? He really hadn't heard her mention it. But thinking about the estrangement between the two of them these days and Lin Ruashi's attitude towards him, it was normal that she didn't tell him. Mo Chinny sensed that there seemed to be a problem and carefully asked, "Did you quarrel with Ruashi?" Yangcheng curled his lips. "You know her personality. It's normal that she didn't tell me. It's fine. She works so hard all year round and needs a break." Mo Chinny didn't ask further. She sighed and said, "That's right. I've been in the company for so many years, but this is the first time I've seen Ruashi willing to take a break and travel with her employees. You didn't see it, but when I announced in the department that the president was going with everyone in the office almost went crazy with joy. I've become jealous of your wife's personal charm. She has so many people adore her, even though she doesn't say a word all day. I thought it was you who persuaded her to go, but it doesn't seem like it. How can I persuade her? She doesn't say anything, but her temper is actually more stubborn than anyone else." Yang Chung smiled bitterly. Mo Chinny nodded in agreement and didn't continue the topic. Instead, she chatted with Yang Chung about other family matters and interesting things in the company. After dinner, Mo Chinny washed the dishes in the kitchen, while Yang Chung sat on the sofa and watched the evening news. When Mo Chinny finished washing the dishes, she took off her apron and stretched. She obediently leaned into Yang Cheng's arms and asked with a smile, "Are you going back tonight?" Yang Chung lowered his head and pecked Mo Chinny's lips. "It depends on your performance. If you perform well, I won't go back. If you don't, I'll turn around and leave." Mo Chinny narrowed her eyes and showed a hint of disdain. She stood up and glanced at Yang Chung. "If you want to go, then go. I won't see you out." But before she finished speaking, one of her hands was grabbed by Yang Chung, and her whole body fell into Yang Cheng's arms again. This time, Yang Chung directly turned over and pressed Mo Chinny under his body. He leaned close to the beauty's ear and said in a low voice, "I'm sorry, your performance just now was what I liked. It was too outstanding. I decided not to go." "Oh." Mo Chinny's earlobe was sprayed with a breath of hot air, and she felt like an electric current was running through her body. "You don't want to go. Don't do this. How about it? Just like this. Then what do you want?" Yang Cheng asked with a smirk. Mo Chinny blushed and said, "I don't know. Let's do this then." Yang Chen chuckled and kissed her lips that were inches away from his. The two were entangled together, and the sofa made a squeaking sound under the pressure. But just when Yang Chung wanted to further remove the restraint under his body, the phone on the coffee table vibrated. Yang Chung helplessly stopped and picked up the phone. He was happy. It was Tang Wan, who had ignored him for many days. Since the day Tang Wan mistakenly thought that he had an affair with her daughter, Tang Tang, she hadn't contacted him. He didn't expect that she would call him at this time. Mo Chinny seized the opportunity when Yang Chung got up and fled from the sofa in a panic. Like a runaway wife, she shouted, "I'm going to take a shower," and hid in her room. Yang Chung smacked his lips and picked up the phone.